I'm back with Randy, folks. Randy, what's up, dude?
Week 2, bro.
We went 0 for 3.
By, bro.
Fuck's
0
sake.
for 3 to start. Dude, we need to do like the Thursday night games last or something, bro, because I don't like starting out with a dud, bro. Back to back weeks to start the season, duds, bro.
Yeah.
Right out with the Dolphins this past week, and then the week 1. We both did we both?
Chiefs.
No, you went Chiefs. I went Ravens.
Yeah.
So I'm 0 for 2 in my Thursday night games, man. I gotta figure something out, bro.
I'm never going against the Chiefs. I think I'm gonna pick the Chiefs to go 17-0 this year and just watch the refs and the league bail them out. Because I agree it was a PI. I get it was a PI.
Yeah.
But to call that late in the game, if that would have been
You
like
gotta make the right call.
yes, but it's also it's the
Nobody
Chiefs.
wanted to see it.
It's also
Nobody
the Chiefs, so
wanted to see it.
I hate on them. But
Yeah.
anyways, I think we're gonna do a different format from now on. Randy's dad had a great freaking idea.
Shout out Jay-Z, John Zigger.
Shout out Jay-Z. Anyways, we're gonna wrap up week 2. Give our thoughts, go over our predictions. Spoiler: we both went 8 for 8. But
and
we'll start.
disagreed on games.
And
as
we
well.
disagreed, yeah.
It wasn't like we were just all on the same page with everything. Disagreed. Both ended up 8 and 8. Got to do better though.
Yeah, I think after this, we've mentioned it before the podcast. Fuck the odds. We're not dealing with that. We're going with gut feelings on teams after we've seen them the first 2 weeks. Like, we got a good idea.
It's all about matchups. I feel like
Yeah.
in some of the picks, like I wanted to pick certain games, like for example that Bucs Lions game.
Turn your mic on.
It is on. Yeah,
It
I
is?
got you, bro. Yeah.
Want to talk?
Yeah, we got Bucs. We
I'm
got
tweaking.
with
All
the
right.
Bucs Lions game, with the Cowboys Ravens, with the Eagles Falcons. I'm trying to trust my prior knowledge of what the teams were in last season and trust the talent on the field, but there's just some things with matchups and the way that they're kind of starting out the season that I got to just trust my gut and trust certain matchups to win and play out well. So yeah, definitely going to lean a little more into that than into prior knowledge and prior season.
Yeah. We'll go to Bills, Dolphins. We were both dead wrong, and I think Tua was going to try to battering ram his head into DeMar Hamlin. So
Bro.
he's got to retire. I made a freaking video about it. He's got to do what's best for his life and retire after that because who knows, the next one might just put him out for good. And that's not what you want to see.
Yeah.
He's had 4 concussions in the past 5 years, I think. But
Yeah, I mean, dude, Tua's just a frustrating QB to watch on top of that. I felt bad, bro. I texted you a couple minutes before he got hurt, and I was like, man, I hate watching Tua play football, bro. And then right after that, bro just gets his 17th concussion, bro, and he's just getting taken off the field. He's stiff on the field. Dude, it looked bad, bro. But right before that, I was just texting you, man, I hate watching Tua play football. That dude frustrates me, bro. I picked the Dolphins because I thought that I know, man. It was horrible. It was so horrible,
funny.
Bro. So horrible. I texted you that right before, and I was like, dang, I didn't mean it like that.
Yeah,
bro.
no,
I
yeah.
didn't mean it like that. But, yeah, it's just he's frustrating to watch, It's the whole thing with the Dolphins is when they play better teams than the Dolphins, what happens?
Yeah.
I think that Mike McDaniel has a record of I think it was 2-14 or 2-12 versus winning teams, or he doesn't have a win versus a team with a winning record. There's some kind of statistic I saw about that to where it's very telling, Tua, he executes an offense that gives him easy reads with guys who are elite athletes with speed. But when he has to make his reads and when he has to hold up versus a better opponent who takes the middle of the field away, takes away all these run after the catch opportunities, what happens? He's throwing picks. He's doing his best Will Levinson impression. And it's just, dude, what are you doing? 3 picks and then throwing himself into a tackle and getting hurt again.
Yeah.
He's just an accident waiting to happen, man. And I mean, I don't know how to feel about him retiring. I mean, dude's doing it for the love of the game. So if he wants to play, bro, then that's his decision. But just in terms of the game, I was kind of unsure that A-Chain was going to play. He ended up playing. I thought Jalen Wright was going to be on the field more. H.N. ended up playing. He looks good. He's a very confusing player because he doesn't have like a lot of instinctual
H.N.?
moves. Yeah.
Yeah.
He doesn't have like a lot of instinctual moves or anything, but he's just very efficient with his runs, and his speed is a real threat. And he was doing a really good job on the ground, but Dolphins just kept turning the ball over, man.
Yeah. This is more about the Dolphins like losing it than I think the Bills winning it because I don't know, James Cook had 3 touchdowns.
Cook looked good too. Both teams ran the ball well.
And I'm really liking Joe Brady's the OC, right? Yeah, Joe Brady.
Yeah, Joe Brady's the OC with the Bills. He took over last year, I think, when they fired I forget his name. But they fired their OC midseason last year.
Yeah, but dude, he loves James Cook and he loves getting him the ball.
Very talented.
He's so fun to watch in terms of like what they scheme up for him. Like that one, it was like 4th down. I think they went for like the opening drive or second drive, and they just send everyone one way and just leak James Cook the other way against the backer, and he just outruns them. That's just that's just good scheme, and that's why I think this Bills offense has not looked as bad as people probably would have thought like before the season with all the pieces they lost. Is because of the scheme. I think they're putting Josh Allen in very favorable spots, and then obviously he's Josh Allen. He's the top 3 quarterback in the league. He's gonna just do his thing too. So I don't know. The Bills are 2-0. They knock off the Cardinals last week, and they get a dub against Miami in Miami. I mean, for a divisional matchup, that's big time for them. So
with the way that Josh Allen's looking right now and the way he's using his legs, he's extending plays. The Dolphins just don't have anybody who can get him down. You know, and it's like it negates that whole strength in the secondary that they have on their team in the first place, which is what they wanted to lean on. But Jalen Phillips is out there, but they're just not getting him on the ground. And I don't know if it was like the team speed of the Dolphins in the front 7 and their size and ability to match up with the guy like Josh Allen. I don't know if there's many defenses that can match up with the athletic ability of Josh Allen. And if he keeps playing this way, he's probably going to win an MVP this year. Yeah. Because, he wasn't getting the ball out to his receivers on the perimeter. I don't know how many receptions his wide receivers even had. Khalil Shakir got some work. James Cook got some work. But in terms of the perimeter receivers, they didn't get much work that entire game, and it was really just about Josh extending plays and James Cook being a good counter off of that. Yeah,
their leading receiver is actually Shakir with 5 catches for 54 yards.
Exactly.
That led the team. So the next closest guy was Ty Johnson, who had 1 catch for 33 yards. Dalton Kincaid also had 33 yards, but I don't know. Dalton Kincaid's fantasy owners are kind of like, WTF? Yeah. What's going on with Kincaid? His usage has not been where people would have thought, but I think it has a lot to do with game scripts and like the Bills are up, they get a pick 6. They're not thinking about, all right, we got to get Kincaid the ball. They're thinking about kill the clock, keep our defense off the field, let them just be firing when they get back on the field. And Tua just helping them out, throwing them gifts. Like, I think the most frustrating thing for me as like watching a quarterback play is like those throws out of bounds where you don't get enough on it to throw it out. Yeah. Like that 3rd pick I think he had. I was like, dude, either get out of the pocket or just like, I don't know. I think it's so dumb what Tua did on that last one. But I don't know. I'm good with this game. After Tua went down, I thought it was just like
the one thing I do want to note is that the Dolphins secondary they invested heavily in, and it's not showing up. I don't really see a lot of plays being made by the secondary to where this is going to lead up to a lot of wins for the team overall, because the team that invested so heavily in the secondary that's just getting beat up front with the run game and any athleticism from a QB, this team's going to have problems with or without Tua, I think.
Yeah, we'll go to our next game.
Yeah, I got 49ers Vikings, bro.
I
wanted to start off with that one.
Well, you got it, bro.
Yeah.
Get after it.
Yeah,
what do you think?
I was pretty stoked with the outcome of this game. It was my upset of the week last week. I think that the 49ers are going to have some problems, bro. I don't think this is just – I liked the Vikings in this game because of Brian Flores. I think that he's going to be a head coach after this season. I think that he made things very tough on Brock Purdy in terms of taking away that first read and making the middle of the field really tough to challenge for him. And – dude, he was thrown into coverage all game long. And, with the 49ers offense, one thing I'm looking at, though, is that I like Jordan Mason. I liked him a lot coming into the season, and I think he runs the ball very well. But not having McCaffrey there, being able to check the ball down to him, give him a screen and letting him take it for 50 yards for a touchdown, it's like you miss that.
They're missing that.
You miss that easy button was what I kind of considered as like QB can check it down and get production, get first downs. They're missing that. Debo didn't look good, and he's hurt again.
Yeah.
And Ayuk's not looking good, and now Kittle got carted off the field, and he's having to come back in the game. This Niners team, this isn't just I mean, as much as I liked the Vikings in this game, I don't think this is just a one-off game for them. I think they might have problems. They got the Rams next week. They should look really good. Will they? We'll find out. But I think that going forward in the season, this is kind of a team to watch for. Are they going to regress with all these injuries they're having? Or was this just an early season kind of slump? But, I mean, McCaffrey, calf and Achilles, explosive player that relies on his explosion being a running back. I don't think he's going to be the same when he comes back. So we'll see as the season goes on, but they're really missing him. And, I mean, good for the Vikings on the dub, but, I mean, they got a lot of injuries too. I think this is just a really weird Week 2 matchup that I don't know if either of these teams look very imposing or dominant, or the Vikings' 2-0 record really says much about their season, how it's going to go.
Yeah, I'm loving this. I'm loving all these. I don't ever pray on a person to get hurt, but we'll definitely take it if we're the Cardinals.
Oh, man. Yeah, we'll talk about that. We'll get into the Cardinals later.
Yeah, we'll get into them, but I'm just you're 100% right. They're missing. CMC is, when healthy, the best running back in the league, and it's not even close. So it's like when you don't have that, you may have a good guy behind him, but he doesn't make up for that ground loss, you know. And with Debo out now, they're really going to have to lean on guys like Jawan Jennings to, like, step up in that number 2 role. And Jawan Jennings is a great 3. He's a great 3, great physical guy, like, but he's not a 2.
No,
he's
you
not.
Don't want him in that role.
No, and
when all the guys are healthy, they fill great roles in the offense that makes them very effective. But when you start having guys banged up and you're asking guys to step up, I mean, you wish a guy like Ricky Pearsall was healthy on the field. It's unfortunate that he's in the position that he's being hurt. I mean, we'll see when he comes back. But I mean, it's just the injuries. You know, like, is this going to be something that carries on throughout the season? I think it might.
I think it will. And this Debo being hurt obviously takes him off the field, right? Yeah. But in terms of the playbook and how much they utilize him in just different aspects, that hurts them a lot. And that kind of limits Shanahan's diversity and kind of creativity in the play call, because they use him in so many different ways, and him being out kind of just, I think it locks up people on Ayuk more. I would expect Ayuk to draw a ton of attention, and if Jawan Jennings goes for like 10 catches for 134 yards, you're like, all right, we'll live with that.
Yeah.
I think life is going to be hell for Brock.
It's putting a lot of pressure on him.
Yeah.
It's putting a lot of pressure on a QB that he can handle it at times, but he really shines when he's able to distribute and be the field general.
Yeah. But this Vikings team, you're dead on about Brian Flores, dude. His scheme, I don't know if you saw the interview after the thing, Brock Purdy. Your scheme is crazy. Yeah.
I went up to him right after the game.
Yeah, bro. It's freaking.
He's going to be a head coach next year.
He probably will. And
they got 2 on the staff right now. The Vikings will be competent, but it's about all these injuries they got. I mean, Hawkinson's not there. Aaron Jones is getting banged up. Jordan Addison's banged up. Jefferson got banged up. How long are you really going to go in this season with Sam Darnold and putting all the pressure on him to keep the offense afloat? You know, the offensive line's not bad, but and Ty Chandler looked pretty good.
Yeah.
He looked good in his year 2 run with the team, but I mean, you're just putting a lot of pressure on Sam Darnold to get the ball out to a lot of guys that, I mean, you don't really want to be relying on.
Yeah, no. The Vikings, I think that 2-0 record, like you said, is not very indicative of who they are going forward.
Yeah.
But the Niners are in trouble, man. Shanahan is a great play caller, so they'll be fine, you know.
Yes.
But in terms of just their ceiling now, it's not very it's not high anymore. I'll just say that.
They got to hope that they can get better by stay afloat in the season, stay around fringe playoffs, making the playoffs, and then hope that they can get healthy and at the right time. That's what they're really hoping for. They want to make the most out of this, like maybe last 1 to 2 season window they had with all these guys on the field.
Yeah, man. I'm loving it, honestly. What game you want to go to next?
Let's just knock Browns Jaguars out, dude, really quick, bro.
Sounds good.
I mean, it's kind of funny. I thought the Jaguars would look a lot better in this game. I mean, you look at all the statistics in that game. They won the game except for points, which is the one you need to win. So, yeah, I think this Jaguars team is – I have faith that they're going to figure it out. They didn't in the first 2 weeks. They seem to have issues in the red zone and in closing games out. I don't think they know how to use ETN correctly.
No.
They're missing Evan Ingram.
Yep.
Their defense, I don't think has anybody on the field. I mean, I know I like that Josh Hines-Allen kid, but I mean, it's just there's nobody that you look at that is going to stop an offense from doing what they want to do. And I think we saw that this game. We saw an offensive coach in Kevin Stefanski who has a good offensive line and okay weapons to be able to do what he wanted to do, run play action, make the game easy for Deshaun. I think one thing that was interesting was they're getting Jameis Winston snaps. They had like 3. They got him in the QB sneak package.
Yeah, but let's not do that. Let's just put him out there permanently, Browns. What the fuck are we doing?
We'll see how long it takes for Deshaun to get some bench time for him. But I still think that's in the play or in the fold for the Browns. I still think they're going to end up benching Winston or benching Deshaun at some point. But they got to win. Ugly game. Jags should have won, and they didn't. They didn't put up enough points to beat their opponent, which is what you do in football.
Yep.
So I'm going to keep an eye on them. I think they're going to figure it out. But hot seat right now, Doug Peterson.
Yeah,
if he doesn't figure it out, he could be one of the first coaches gone this season.
Trevor Lawrence, man, he's looks like a shell of himself. Everyone was thinking like a bounce back year from him because of all the drops he had last year from his receivers, and now there's no one to look at. A guy I want to focus on. They have to get Brian Thomas the ball, bro.
He's their number 1 receiver.
He's fucking good. Like you have to. He only had 4 targets. He should be in the range of 9 to 12 to 13 every single game.
That's where I think they might figure it out. You're seeing flashes of certain guys that are starting to like make plays that I think they'll formulate an identity that is effective because there's so many playmakers. Brian Thomas looks like the best rookie receiver right now, in my opinion. Like, I think he looks the best rookie receiver. I know you had in New York, you had what's his name getting all the catches. Neighbors. He got all the catches. It's not like Brian Thomas is doing it. Brian Thomas looks like a dominant physical player. So I mean, I think they're gonna figure it out because they have athletes that can get the ball and are explosive, but they just gotta figure out how to put the ball in the end zone, man. And that's execution, that's coaching, that's preparation, and I don't know, hot seat right now for Peterson, but I think they'll figure it out, whether Peterson's there or not this year.
Yeah. They're also – I'm sick of this Christian Kirk shit. I'm a – like –
yeah, I think he's on his way out of there.
Dude, him, like –
man.
That I don't like him. If you can't tell, I'm struggling to find words of how I just dislike him, and I just don't – I don't think he's the answer. He's had so many drops, and like, you can't drop the ball as much as he does as a fucking NFL receiver. You can't. That's not something that should happen. No. Gabe Davis, just the most mid receiver of all time.
He's actually looked okay with them. I thought he's played like well, considering like what expectations are of Gabe Davis. I thought he's played well, but ETN, Brian Thomas. Getting Evan Ingram back out there.
Yeah.
Those are the important things for this Jags team. And, I mean, we got to see if they can figure it out.
Yeah, I'm done with this game. I don't want to look at Deshaun Watson anymore, to be honest.
I just got a couple notes about Jerry Jeudy. Jerry Jeudy made a lot of plays on structure in time of the offense where they're playing a defense where the defense doesn't dictate anything to them and they can do whatever they want. There you go. Jerry Jeudy making some plays.
Yeah.
He looked hype. Good for him. Don't really have much to say about the Browns other than they are who they are. They played a Jags team that is kind of just not imposing anything onto opponents. They're letting opponents do whatever they want. And I think an ugly game where you're just not putting the ball in the end zone, they end up losing. So I think they'll figure it out, but hey, time will tell with that.
I just want Jameis to get in that offense so they have skill guys. Like when Njoku gets healthy again, he's a good tight end. Judy,
I like Njoku, yeah.
Amari Cooper. I don't know if Amari Cooper's or Deshaun's allergic to Amari Cooper, but
Amari had a big drop.
Did he? I didn't watch the game fully.
There was like a 40-yard something pass, and where he was down the field, corner out, and he just dropped it right into through his hands. But this is the thing though, is with Deshaun, is he made a little more of the whole ad lib, play extension type of plays. But in terms of the on-time offense that Amari excels in, he's just not getting the ball because that's not what Deshaun does.
Yeah, I'm good with this Browns game.
There's not really much to say about it. It was just kind of an ugly game, and the Jags are kind of just shooting themselves in the foot.
Yeah, they got to figure it out on offense. What game you want to jump to next?
Chargers, Panthers. Let's knock this one out.
Do it.
Yeah, I mean,
it's all you, bro. All you. Talk about your boy.
Starting Dalton. Hey, we're here. I got some takes that we're gonna have about in the preview and coming tomorrow. But man, I mean, it just looked exactly like I expected it to. It was one of my locks of the week was the Chargers beating the Panthers. I had a bet with the Chargers beating the Panthers by 20, and they won by 23, and went about as exactly as you could imagine, with both sides of the ball just being dominated because the Panthers' defense has no talent in the trenches with Derek Brown being gone. Their secondary is one of the worst in the league. J.C. Horn got a pick, whatever.
He also got beat by Quentin Johnson for a touchdown.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So it's like you really don't have anybody you're looking at on the defensive side of the ball to where, just like we talked about the Jags, who is stopping an offense from doing whatever they want to do?
No one.
Nobody.
They might have a bottom 3 offense or defense in the league.
This might be the worst. This is probably the worst pass defense in the league. It's probably the worst pass defense in the league in terms of pass rush with secondary play. Probably the worst secondary pass defense in the league. And then, I mean, you look at what they weren't able to stop J.K. Dobbins. Quentin Johnston, 2 touchdowns. I mean, you're letting Quentin Johnston go and moss dudes. It's just, that's just a bad look. And, I mean, I think the whole Panthers team is frustrated. I think they're desperate for a win and to prove that they're not trash. They're a bunch of grown men, professional, millions of dollars paid athletes that are getting called losers right now. So I have a take tomorrow when we're talking about that matchup they have this week. But, I mean, it's just exactly what Bryce Young's been. He can't throw the ball down the field, can't see over the middle of the field, chucked another blind pass over the middle that got picked. Dude, I kind of felt bad for him. He literally looked like he was going to cry. Like, literally, at the second, towards the end of the game, he literally looked like he was about to cry in the middle of the field.
Yeah, some guy asked him for an autograph today, and you could just tell he's just so in his own head. And, you got to feel for him because these are all people at the end of the day still, so you just got to, think of how much expectation this guy had as a number 1 overall pick. To be playing how poorly he has. That's just got to be messing with his mental. But you are getting paid millions of dollars, so you got to grow up and learn if you want to stay in this league because he might be on the track he's on right now. He might be if you look up top 10 NFL busts of all time, he's on that list right now. I genuinely
he's up
think
there with Jamarcus Russell.
He's up there
with the capital the Panthers gave up to get Bryce Young.
100%.
He is up there with Jamarcus Russell.
Yeah.
I think that he may be one of the worst busts of all time,
Yeah.
worst trades of all time. It's just. I don't see any scenario where he is successful.
Yeah.
Not even as maybe a backup. I don't see with the way his confidence is, with his physical stature and how he's not able to hold up. I mean, it's a tough look, bro. And I mean, I felt bad for him towards the end of the game, but I mean, with the way the receivers looked, how frustrated they were.
Adam Thielen, fucking
dude, they were losing
out.
their minds, man.
Yeah.
And I think that they're ready to unleash a little bit of their frustrations on a team this week, but. It's very much so what we expected to happen from this game. So there's not really much to say. It's just kind of what we expected.
I want to say something about the Panthers organization and just for sports as a whole. I saw an interview on TikTok with this kid interviewing Nick Castellanos. He's an outfielder for the Phillies for baseball.
Okay.
And they asked him if you could change one thing, what would you change in all of sports? And he said, I want, how coaches get fired, all this kind of stuff.
Talking about owners.
Team presidents and owners should be They should have there should be some system where if you are consistently shit, like when the Browns were so bad for so long, you know what I mean? The Panthers were that right now.
Hey, man,
if you're
fire George
consistent,
McCaskey, bro.
yeah, if you're consistently bad, you should have to sell your team, and like that should be like a part of the game because no one should be. If you're consistently gonna throw just an entire franchise away, and there's basically 31 teams in the NFL that are contending for a playoff spot and like trying to get better.
Yeah.
That's just not good for the NFL. And as soon as he said that, I just immediately thought of the Panthers, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, with how that organization is run, I would be so for that if they would have to sell their team. I genuinely think that's a great idea.
I do think people are going to be surprised at how competent the offense looks now that Bryce is out of it. I think people are going to be surprised.
I think you're giving Dalton a little bit more credit than he deserves.
Yeah, we'll see. I think the Panthers' offensive line, they did make a lot of improvements. I do actually like their top 3 at receiver, and they actually might have 4 with David Moore being the 4th. I do think the running back room is not bad. You can rotate. They're not the worst in the league. It's like when you look at the offense as a whole, what do they have? They have players that can make plays. They have players that can run a competent, middling offense. You know, middling to slightly above middle of the league offense. This is not the worst group 32nd team in the league offense. Defensively, yeah.
Yes.
When you have a defense like they have with a QB that can't push the ball down the field, can't see over the middle of the field, this is what you get. Yeah. You know, it's like it's the combination of everything that leads up to what we've seen. But in terms of the offense being able to function, they have a lot more to work with than people realize. And I think having a QB that's a veteran that has led winning teams that can put up numbers, I think will open a lot of eyes to people about how much talent is actually on this offense.
I hope so, just for everyone on the Panthers' sake. Just get out of that just loser mentality that they've just been in. I know it's been 2 weeks.
They're desperate for that.
I feel like it's felt way longer than 2 weeks for that Panthers team. You know,
it's been a whole last year. I mean,
they
had the first overall pick, 3-14.
Yeah,
it was a long year last year. I couldn't believe Bryce actually hung in all year.
Yeah. Well, what game you want to go to next?
Jets Titans. Yeah, man. I mean, Aaron Rodgers, bro. I mean, he got a passing touchdown, right? You have 2 passing touchdowns, both to running backs.
Hold on. Oh yeah, my boy Brees Allen. Hell yeah.
He had Braylon Allen and Breece Hall. Breece Hall. My bad. Breece Hall.
Don't
corner.
Disrespect him like that.
Breece
Hall. My 4th overall pick.
Yeah, you're gonna see a lot. I'm impressed that they started to figure out Braylon Allen. I mean, that is a good sign in terms of the season outlook for the offense. I mean, you seeing them figure out Braylon Allen. Mike Williams had a nice catch in there as well. Garrett Wilson doesn't look the same. I think you need to get rid of them sleeves. I think he's losing some of his swag with that. He looks kind of goofy out there.
Yeah.
He looks like he's got his older brother's shoulder pads on or something, bro. He does not look right. I mean, I think that the season, like, we'll see as they develop if they are able to figure out more of the passing game. I think Mike Williams, if they're going to come out and actually start to have more success passing the ball, I think it's going to come with Mike Williams being out there a little more. But that defense, man, I mean, they got some questions. I mean, they struggle to stop the run. Will Levis made some plays on them. Will Levis, I saw some comparisons of him to Jameis Winston, which I love. And honestly, I think it's great for the NFL. I think we need more QBs like Will Levis. I would love the NFL to have more guys like that. Just not for the Bears because that would piss me off watching that. But
anyone else though?
Yeah, anybody else? I like watching it, bro. It's good. It's good football. It's great entertainment. I mean, he's chucking the ball backwards and doing it again. The same thing he did last week, pissing off his coach.
Coach is pissed, bro.
I mean, but Calvin Ridley, dude. I think he had 2 touchdowns in this game. Beat Sauce Gardner on the one. It's Sauce's worst pass coverage game, I think, in his career.
Yeah, dude. How did he catch that ball? I was watching that. I was like, how did Levis fit it in there? Pause. To Ridley.
He just sends it, bro.
Bro, he doesn't give a fuck. I love it. Pollard.
I love it as well. But I mean, it's just this Titans defense people don't really realize is good.
Yeah.
They got a good defense.
Yeah.
This defense is going to keep them in some games. And I mean, the way they rotate the backs, they just play offense to stay on the field, sustain drives, move the ball, play field position, put up points when they can, be opportunistic, play defense. They're a competent team, you know. Do I think this showed a lot in terms of I think this honestly kind of showed a lot of who the Jets are, because even with the backs getting going the way they did, they almost lost it at the end. I mean, I think the Titans score down there when it's 17-10, I believe was the final score. When it was 17-10 and the Titans were down there looking to punch it in again, and I think they would have went for 2. And I think there's a good chance like the Jets could have lost that game. I mean, I think the Titans blew some opportunities by turning the ball over inside the 10-yard line when Will decided to toss it backwards. So, I mean,
it was 24-17.
24-17, a 7-point game. I remember. I don't remember if it was 17 or 24, but we got that. Shit. It was a 7-point game either way. I think there's going to be some problems with the Jets, especially with Jermaine Johnson going out and Hassan Reddick not coming in. They got some problems with the passing game and their run defense in front 7.
Jermaine Johnson's a big loss.
Mosley's been getting banged up, too.
Yeah, he's been in and out of the locker room the past 2 games. He got banged up in the Niners game, too. But, yeah, the Jets will be fine as long as they stick to committing to the run game, because I think with this tandem backfield that they have with Breece Hall and Braylon Allen,
maybe the best in the league.
It's probably the best in the league. And you're right. You were begging them to run the ball, and they did. He's also, like, they have them listed at the same height. I don't know, dude. Braylon Allen just looks like a big freaking beast out there, dude.
He's what people wish A.J. Dillon was.
Yeah. But like way more explosive. Like, he hits the hole fucking hard. Every time he hits the hole, it's like, dude, he's going to run somebody over. But
you got a big dude like that with fresh legs.
Dude.
You wear down a defense with him.
Yes.
And then Breece is the lightning to bounce off that.
Yeah.
You have a sick rotation with these two.
Yeah. They have to get the passing game right. I don't know what is going on. You also got to keep in mind, like, Rodgers has been in the system for 2 years, but he didn't get that last year. He had 4 snaps to figure out the offense. So, like, this Jets team will definitely get better as the year goes on in terms of just, like, chemistry and kind of just finding a rhythm, because being out of it, I don't care if you're a Hall of Fame player like Rodgers or not, it's going to mess with you, like, trying to get your timing back.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to slander them too much in terms of just how Rodgers looks right now, but if we go to, like, week 10, week 11, and Rodgers is still, like, struggling like this, I'm like, okay, hey, maybe there's something there, but
there's a lot of expectation on Rodgers just to get better as the season goes on.
It's because it's him.
Because of the name.
Yeah.
He's 40 years old. That's where I'm like, people are just expecting, like, him to just get better as the season goes on, and I'm betting against that in terms of my opinion of this team and how good they can be. This looks like a 9-8 team. Like, in my opinion, this looks like a 9-8 team, which is fringe playoff. It's not bad. But with the way their defense is struggling to keep teams off the field, their pass defense was a strength in years past. I think people are expecting it to just carry over year, when a lot of teams that are really good defensively have defensive regression. The safety room is not impressive. They're top 2 at corner, maybe with the nickel, with Michael Carter. Impressive. Yeah.
They're good, yeah.
But in terms of, if you can't stop the run, make teams one-dimensional, and make them pass the ball on them, you got a problem.
Yeah.
You're not going to see the same defense that you've seen in years past. And, like, they won the game this past Sunday, but season outlook, when they're playing other teams that want to run the ball and will run the ball on them, we'll see how they hang with them.
Yep. I'm good with this game. What game do you want to judge to next?
Let's get the Giants-Washington out of the way. You got anything you want to say about it? Because, I mean, I think both these teams kind of trash.
Yeah, I don't see. I saw, like, a little. I could see what the Commanders are going for with Jaden Daniels. Like, I know they're trying to lean into his legs a lot more, but he cannot be taking this many hits, bro. He's going to, like, I think he went out of the game with, like, a rib injury or something like that for a game. And then he's back in.
I didn't see that.
He got hit, like, sandwiched between 2 guys. Pause. And just, it did not look good. He needs to slide, or just get out of bounds. Just be smarter with it. But you can't really take anything away from this game, in my opinion, because they're both so bad, and I know Daniel Jones did have, like, one of his better games, which isn't really saying much. But you saw him get the ball to Malik Neighbors more, and that's the only way this team is gonna have success. Is like Neighbors, even on like little crow routes and like little out routes, he's got that run after catch ability where you're like, oh, dude, that dude could literally take it to the house at any time because of how elusive he is and how sharp he is in and out of his cuts. He's making people look dumb. There's one crow route where he like completely spun this guy out, and I was like, oh shit, that's like, he honestly looks more twitchy than Jamar, but has that kind of same like ability to run after the catch. If you're trying to,
he looks like Justin Jefferson.
Yeah.
Like in terms of athletically on the field, like
I think
he
he's
looks
more
like
twitchy though.
He looks a lot like Justin Jefferson with a little more twitch for sure. He's not the same build, but very similarly to Justin Jefferson and how the fluid of an athlete he is. He looks very similar.
Yes, Devin Singletary had a great day. I was celebrating. We had to play him in one of my leagues.
Oh, you had to play
I
him?
had to play him, and thank God he did well. I was like, Commanders, come on, we can tear this team up, and he did.
Bad.
Yeah, dude, Zamir White I thought was gonna have a way better.
No,
dude.
Oh, you drafted Zamir?
Dude, I thought, 20 plus touches the last 6 games last year.
No.
I was like, dude, they're gonna feed him every game.
Oh no,
he's averaging like 2 yards a carry. Anyways, fuck.
Bro's got Zamir White and Devin Singletary, and that's a nightmare rotation.
Yeah. I'm praying Jonathan Brooks gets back healthy soon. I think he's actually going to be nasty.
Ooh, that's a nightmare rotation, bro. Ooh.
Jonathan Brooks is nasty, bro. Just wait till he gets back. But back to this game, Brian Robinson Jr. has just cemented himself as the number 1 back, and it's not even close anymore.
I thought Eckler looked okay in this game. I honestly thought he looked like he had some juice again this game.
There was one run where I was like, oh,
there was a couple plays that he had where I thought he looked pretty good. I'm honestly like, this whole offense is going to go through these backs and Jaden's legs.
Yeah.
He's just trying to survive this season. There's not much to work with. They're not going to win a lot of games. This defense looks horrible.
Yeah, this defense is terrible. Especially their secondary, dude. Oh, my God. Talk about secondary talent. This might be bottom 3 right there with the Panthers.
Yeah,
it's bad.
I mean, both these defenses are some of the worst in the league in this game. I mean, to see the Giants put up 3 touchdowns on them, I mean, dude. Yeah. Like, I mean, Neighbors had some plays in there, but like you kind of mentioned, hitches and outs, and then like 1 or 2 crossing routes.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it's just because Daniel Jones, that's the only way he can get him the ball. Maybe that's why. We'll see as the season goes on. But, I mean, good for him getting some touches. Good for him getting in the end zone. Athletically, he looks sick. Well, he looks very sick. Dropped that ball at the end of the game. Yeah. Disappointing for sure.
He was pissed. That's what I love about Malik Neighbors. Is like, he's got that competitive edge to him where he's like, dude, he had a crazy day. 10 catches, 127 yards, and a touchdown. Anyone would be happy with that receiving line for the NFL. But he's more focused about that drop that cost his team. I think he's a very team guy about winning, and that they need 52 other guys like that on this Giants roster because that's how you build a winning culture and a winning football team is guys who put the team before themselves. And Malik Neighbors has got the talent and he's got the mentality. So I'm a huge Malik Neighbors guy. I think he can be labeled as a diva sometimes, but I'm on Neighbors. Big on Neighbors right now.
He fits that Odell Beckham like type of mold. Odell left, the mark he left in New York. He fits that a little bit.
Yeah.
One guy I kind of like was impressed with a little bit to start the season for the Giants is Wan'Dale Robinson. I thought he looked pretty good with the ball in his hands. I'd like to see them get him some more design touches in the short game to let him use his athletic ability after the catch. You don't want punters kicking PATs. Unfortunate that they did that. They probably win the game if their kicker doesn't get hurt. But
that's brutal.
Yeah, both these teams though are just bottom 8. They're probably gonna both be picking in the bottom 8, the first 8 picks in the draft. You know, both these teams are picking up there. But Jaden's just gotta survive the season. One thing I want to watch with Washington going forward is see if Noah Brown can get on the field a little more, and get some more receptions and get some more targets. You know, I thought he looked pretty good when he did get the ball, but we'll see as the season goes on.
Zach Ertz is just the ultimate outlet for Jaden. He's like
they need a guy like that. Yeah, it's good for him.
Yeah, I think you sent me this where the Giants are the first team in NFL history to score 3 touchdowns and not win the game. When the other team is what?
They didn't score
a
touchdown.
7 field goals. 7 field goals. Yeah. That's an unbelievable stat, dude. If the Giants,
I mean, that just shows you both defenses.
So bad.
Both defenses are horrible.
Yeah.
offenses are not ideal.
No.
So it's just both these teams are going to be picking in the top 8 in the draft next year.
Yep. Who do you got next?
Colts, Packers.
Starting off, brother.
Colts, Bears got them this next week, so I was kind of checking in, seeing how they were looking.
Them out.
I was checking out the Colts, and man, this offense is super inconsistent.
Yeah.
I mean, for as explosive as they are and athletic as they are, super inconsistent. Anthony Richardson's accuracy and their ball security as an offense, I worry about. I worry about long term of the season. I mean, you see a guy like Josh Allen get his accuracy corrected when he comes into the league. So you take a guy like Anthony Richardson and see if you can work with him. Yeah. But just seeing some of his struggles to hit like second level throws where it's like intermediate. That intermediate part of the field he's struggling with right now, And if you're struggling throwing passes over there, you're going to be turning the ball over. He's overthrowing passes, hitting the safety in the face, It's like you can't be doing that, dude.
Nope.
I mean, I thought Jonathan Taylor looked really good. He sets up block. He's a really impressive runner. But defensively, man, nobody to really speak of in terms of stopping the opposing offenses from doing what they want to do. Buckner was out. That sucks.
Latu was in and out. He ended up leaving too. So
yeah, I didn't see Latu get hurt, but behind them it's Kwity Paye and a bunch of guys. So it's like that front seven. They really need Buckner back in there because without him, there's not a lot of talent to look at. This is gonna stop opposing offenses from doing whatever they want to do. So that's kind of like what I looked at with the Colts this game and the Packers. I mean, LaFleur, super impressive in terms of how he adjusts to the talent he has in the field. I like that it was impressive. I watched them go pistol a lot in this game and take Malik Willis. They put receivers in the backfield. They motioned guys to make him to where he could get comfortable. I think he was like 10 to 12 passing to start the game.
12, 10, yeah.
10
He ended up finishing 12 or 14, 122 yards and a touchdown.
12 of 14.
What do you want from the guy coming off in his first NFL start as a Packer? And he goes in and not only throws for that, he looked good, like just scrambling for first downs.
He looked very comfortable.
And I think I'm LaFleur, bro. I'm not gonna say he's the best coach in the league because
he's up there.
He's
like top 5, top 6 for sure.
I would think he's top 3. I'm putting him up there with like.
I'd have
Andy
to lay out
Reid.
I'd have to lay out all of them in terms of saying that. I think he's definitely top 5, top 6 though, for sure. He's up there.
But yeah, I was
super impressive.
Crazy impressed with how this Packers defense, after giving up as many points as they did, they stifled it. They kind of shrugged that game off. And this Colts team, I want to attribute part of the reason they were successful because of Anthony Richardson's play, but they also they made plays out there too. I worry with Anthony Richardson, can he get that touch that you see top tier quarterbacks have? Everything's a bullet pass in Madden with this guy, and
he gets excited when he sees a guy open.
Yeah, bro, chill out.
He slings it. Yeah, he's a young dude. He's only 21, maybe 22 years old.
He'll be fine.
We'll see if he can mature and kind of learn to hone in his arm a little more.
Yeah, I'm looking up his age right now.
He's very young. I think he's one of the youngest. I think he's maybe the youngest starter in the league this year. But he's
22.
He's 22. He must have just turned 22 then. But
he turned it in May. So
in May,
recently.
Yeah. So he's a very young QB, hyper talented. But it's those second level intermediate throws. When he sees a guy way down the field and wants to just let it fly, one of the best in the league. And in terms of arm talent, that can do it whatever he wants.
Yeah.
Every blade of grass has to be defended with a QB like this. But when you make him throw short and intermediate passes, this dude makes mistakes. It's like he just isn't very accurate. And I think that it's going to be really interesting to see if he can develop that over this next year, maybe 2 years, because he's going to need to do that if he wants to have any sort of consistency on offense.
Yep. Good this game?
A little more. I want to talk a little more about the Packers. They did a really good job getting Malik Willis comfortable. Jaden Reed. I think Jaden Reed is their X factor on offense. They put him in backfield, ran swing passes with them. They turned and handed him the ball a few times, I think, as well. I think he's their X factor on offense right now. Where's Christian Watson? Christian Watson, he's been a no-show so far this season. Touchdown in week 1, but they were trying to get him the ball. They were force-feeding the ball at times. I don't know what's up with him, but he doesn't look like he's going to be much of a factor for them Dontavian Wicks, Romeo Dobbs, Jaden Reed. I think even Tolbert was making plays out there instead of Christian Watson. So, I mean, he might be banged up. I'm not sure. But I'm just not seeing a lot for him to make me think that he's going to be much of a factor for them. So, we'll see going forward. But Packers also kind of struggled stopping the run a little bit. So, that's been an issue with them in years past. Maybe they get better as the season goes on. Pass defense looked good. But, I mean, without Jordan Love, you're kind of just hoping to survive some of these games and be creative on offense, and they did a good job this game.
Yeah, Jordan Love is somehow questionable to return, and, like, he is hopeful that he can play Sunday, which is, after what I saw him go down, I was like, oh, my God, that might be, like, he might be done for the year.
Yeah, when you saw him get hurt, you would thought he was Joe Theismann out there just breaking his leg or something,
yeah,
bro. And
it was not good.
Yeah, sprain.
But if they have to go another week with Malik Willis, I think this is pretty encouraging if you're a Packers fan. Like,
the Titans defense is tough though.
Yeah,
Titans defense is not going to make it easy on them, and not as easy as the Colts did.
Yeah, and they're not going to be able to run for. Josh Jacobs ran for 32 carries, 151 yards, averaging
32,
almost.
I didn't see 32 carries.
Almost 5 yards a carry too.
He ripped a couple early on and probably helped out of that. Yeah. Helped out that average.
That's not going to happen against this Titans D line. So
no, this Titans defensive front seven is way better.
They'll have to kind of stretch the field more later. I think we'll be seeing some Jaden Reed little reverses, kind of get this defense on their toes a little bit, on their heels a little bit, and see what they can do. Just kind of scheme up some easy looks for Malik Willis if that running game is not going to be as not going to open the field up as much, you know what I mean?
When you know you got to stop one back or just stop the run from the running back directly.
Yeah,
it's going to be a tough game. You can't throw the ball 14 times and 12 completions against the Titans defense. This defense is way better.
Yep. You good here?
Yeah, I'd say so.
What else? What game
Raiders, Ravens, bro. Raiders, Ravens.
You want to start? Or you want me to start?
Ravens got problems, bro. That O-line is going to be a problem all season long. And I think it's a thing we're seeing across the NFL. They're talking about how passing is really down right now. I think something we're also seeing across the league is teams struggling to protect the QB. I don't know the sack numbers across the NFL or the pressure numbers across the NFL, but I feel like we're seeing a ton of QBs just get hit, pressured, sacked, to where it's like this Ravens offense, I think they're going to have problems all season long, but I don't think they're outside of the ordinary right now to start the season with teams that are struggling to protect the QB. And against a team that has Max Crosby, Christian Wilkins, and, I mean, the other pass rushes that they do have, I'm not surprised that at the start of this game, it was 9-6 going into the half, and then you come out of the halftime, and the Ravens start running the ball more with Derrick Henry. They get some plays going down the field with their run game, and I mean, it's just you're putting a lot of pressure on Lamar to survive the pocket that is being created for him that is not clean, to not have guys that he can have an easy button in the offense to check the ball down to get the ball out to an explosive playmaker. You're not making anything easy on Lamar Jackson so far this season, and you're putting a lot of pressure on him and Derrick Henry to be able to sustain drives. I don't think this is just a weird, slow start to the season. I think the Ravens got some actual serious issues in terms of longevity in the season, and their defense too. I mean, they got a takeaway, but this defense is just not able to hold up for the entire game, and the D coordinator looks like he's not able to match his guys up. Like, where is Kyle Hamilton? You know?
Yeah.
Roquan Smith. He's meant to be a game changer in the middle of the defense for them, and he's just not showing up. You know, and it's like I expected a lot more out of this defense, and that's why I was a little higher on the Ravens. But if the way that they're looking, I hope that they figure out as the season goes on, and I'll give them a little bit of time to figure out defensively. But this offense is going to struggle, though. Yeah,
I think it has a lot to do with just the turnover and coaching, because a lot we talked about in the previews. It was just like when you lose they lost their OC and DC, right?
No, they kept the OC. Mike McDonald left, though.
Yeah. He's the Seahawks head coach now. When you lose a guy that is as talented and schemes up the way that Mike McDonald did, and now you're kind of seeing it with the Seahawks too, of like why they're having success early. It's the scheme, and like you can have all the talent in the world and not perform at your ceiling, you know? And this Ravens team, they lost some pieces, but it wasn't anything like catastrophic, you know? They lost Patrick Queen, which is like that was a good tandem with him and Roquan Smith, but like he's not like a game changer, like an X factor like you're talking about. I think it has a lot to do with the scheme. I just looked up while you were talking. I looked at the offensive line pass blocking stats. The Ravens are second in the league in pass blocking win rate. So they're at 85%. So they're winning 85% of their time.
That cannot be true.
Pressure rate is look.
What numbers are you looking at? Because in terms of watching the game, it does not feel
Sack
like that when I'm
pressure
watching
rate,
the Ravens.
17%.
Matt Crosby was eating them alive.
Time of sack. This might be
The TFLs and the hits and pressure he was putting on Lamar Jackson all game. And, I mean, you're not going to be facing Max Crosby every week, but they're facing Micah Parsons next week. You know, and it's like with the way, like, why did they let Morgan Moses go? They just traded him away for nothing. And it's like, I mean, dude, this Ravens offensive line is going to struggle, and you don't just trade for offensive line mid-season and fix holes. If you have holes in the offensive line, you're going to have holes all season. So, talk about the Raiders a little bit. I mean, defensively, it's if they can get pressure on opposing QBs and they can not turn the ball over too much as an offense, and they can limit that and be even in the turnover or margin or plus in the turnover margin as a team, they're going to be hanging around a lot of games because they are very talented, especially with Brock Bowers, with receiver Devontae Adams and Jacoby Myers, and that offensive line is viable enough to where you're not going to be held back. I think that if they could just be even or plus in the turnover margin every week, they're going to have an opportunity to win because the team is very talented.
Yeah. I think if you wanted to if you're looking to build a team, they're missing a quarterback, obviously, right?
Yeah, with the Raiders.
But in terms of like what they do on defense, they have two guys up front that can stop the run, which makes
Crosby's ridiculous.
Yeah,
dude.
Crosby
He's in their backfield all game.
Dude, he lives back there. It feels like that dude. The ball is snapped and he's just waiting for the running back to get the ball. That's how quick he's in there. But like when you have a guy on the D line, I think if I'm a head coach in the NFL, I'm building up my D line first because that's where stuff is won in the trenches, and that's
on both sides, man.
Yeah, but like especially in the defense too, because if you can stop the run and get to the quarterback, that just it makes everything one dimensional, and this secondary is kind of benefiting of how fast they're getting in on the quarterback and how much pressure they're putting opposing teams' quarterbacks on. It helps them out a lot because when the ball's got to get out quick, that's when you can jump stuff, and it makes everything way more predictable. So
when you got playmakers in the secondary, like a guy like Jack Jones,
ball hawks.
You have ball hawks in the secondary.
Yeah,
you can make teams be one dimensional by not allowing them to get going on the ground game.
Yep.
And then they have to pass the ball, and then you have a guy like Max Crosby who can just wreck a game at any moment. You have a formula for success defensively, especially with the playmakers they got on the back end. And I mean, like I said, they're not making anything easy for Lamar Jackson with the offensive talent and setup he has around them. I'm kind of disappointed that they're not able to make the most out of the skill set they have at receiver with all the speed they have. I thought they'd have more motion, more crossing routes, but you're not able to get those developing routes down the field when you're not able to pass block efficiently. So I think going forward, we're going to see if this Ravens team can bounce back. But they got a tough matchup next week. And, I mean, they got the Browns and Myles Garrett in the division. They got T.J. Watt and the Steelers in this division. They got the Bengals and Trey Hendrickson in this division. I mean, there is no easy matchup for this Ravens all season long. They got a number one schedule in terms of their opponents for this season. It's a tough look for them, and they may start 0-3. You know, it's like I'm very excited for the Raiders to get a win like this, but it's going to be all about that turnover margin all season long for them.
Yeah, I think I saw something today on ESPN. It was like there's only been one team since like the Super Bowl era that's went 0-3 and made the playoffs. So that's not a great stat if you're a Ravens fan. You're like, dude, and they have, like you said, you got a tough matchup next week, but
it's not easy.
It's I would be terrified if I were a Baltimore Ravens fan right now.
At least for this season.
Yeah,
for this season.
For this season.
And I think they're really making a mistake by talking about not wanting to give Derrick Henry a lot of touches. This is a guy that gets better as the game goes on and as you feed him touches. He wears that on defense, and he has the explosive athletic ability to be able to break runs and gash teams as the game goes on. I think they're making a mistake by not feeding him touches, and maybe they'll figure it out, just lean into him. But they're going to need to do that if they want to save some of their offense.
Totally agree. You good with this game?
Yeah, I'm all good with this one.
What do you got next?
One more thing I want to say about the Raiders. Brock Bowers.
Oh, yes, dude. Yeah.
Brock Bowers,
Great
I really
point.
want to touch on him really quick. Super impressed by him. I mean, dude, having a guy like that as a quarterback who can get open over the middle of the field, you can check down to, he'll truck a defender. He can run routes down the field. He looks like a young Rob Gronkowski, you know? And it's like, dude, when you got a guy like that we talk about with offenses having the easy button. He is an easy button player that is a mismatch for linebackers and safeties, and then he can run after the catch. He can get downfield. It's definitely a really big benefit to have a guy like that for their offense. Devontae Adams looked great as well.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to touch on Brock Bowers really quick. He was really impressive in his second game, and I'm not going to be surprised if we see them match him up as the season goes on with guys that they can take advantage of with linebackers and safeties and even nickel corners. It's going to be tough to defend Brock Bowers in this offense.
Yeah, people were thought that was a reach for the Raiders when they took him.
Because they seen like Kyle Pitts.
Yeah,
and Njoku. Njoku was a second-round pick. No, first-round pick. He was.
Yeah.
You see tight ends getting taken in the first, and they don't look good. Brock Bowers looks legit.
Yeah, he's the real deal. That was a great point.
I just wanted to touch on him. He had He had 8 catches, I think. 8 catches, 9 catches.
He had 9 catches, 9 targets.
Yep.
Turned in a 98 receiving yards, averaging almost 11 yards a catch.
He looks legit.
He's a quarterback's dream, dude. Like, when you have a guy like that where you can just chuck the ball down to him and, like you said, truck a guy.
Safe hands.
Dude, it's a freaking
mismatch nightmare.
The
safe
ultimate
hands.
safety valve. So,
yeah.
What game you got next?
Saints Cowboys. So,
I like it.
Yeah. This game. Saints look great. I want to say that first. I'm not surprised that the game went the way it did. We talked about it in our preview last week.
Yeah.
Spread was 6.5. Felt it was kind of a weird spread for kind of an overreaction to the Cowboys beating up on the Browns in Cleveland. That team's just dysfunctional in Cleveland. But people just thought the Saints just beat up on a divisional opponent, the Panthers. But, I mean, that defense is very veteran. They are very talented, especially in the back end, and they got guys who can stop the run up front. And when you have an offense that is kind of one step ahead of the opponents, and Alvin Kamara looks like he's fresh.
Yeah, he does look good, dude.
This OC Clint Kubiak's killing it to start the season. I'm interested to see as the season goes on and as teams catch on to their 52% of their passes are play actions. How long does that carry on into the rest of the season to where Derek Carr looks very cool, calm, and comfortable in this offense? Does this carry on as the season goes on? Do teams pick up onto their tendencies in terms of how often they run play action, when they're running play action? Play action is very effective. It's been a known thing since Sean McVay started really killing it with the Rams. But I'm interested to see if teams adjust because, like, for example, you peak too early in the season, you show your hand in terms of your effective plays you want to run. Dolphins, last season, they came out, they had this short motion that broke the tendency and broke people's defenses because they didn't know how to stop it. They adjusted. They got slowed down as the season went on. With this offense and how heavily they are running play action, it looks great. When they have to, if Kamara gets banged up, if teams start to key into when they're taking deep shots, if teams start to know when and how they're calling certain plays, do they adjust? Do they have a second punch? You know, I'm really interested to see that as the season goes on. But, man, the Cowboys, though, we'll get to them in a second. But what did you think about the game, though?
This Cowboys team, I don't get it, really.
They're all in, bro. What do you mean?
They have so much talent, like, especially defensively. Like, I think they're relying a lot on CD to be the guy and have 1,400 yards again.
He'll do it a lot of games. Dude's talented.
He'll make plays, right? But there's got to be a different guy. And you touched on it. That who was it? Tolbert. Tolbert had Turpin.
I really wanted to see Cavante Turpin get more involved in the offense because he's electric. They need to get the ball in his hands more.
But another guy stepped up, Jalen Tolbert. He had a big catch. And then all of a sudden
he's a weird player.
Yeah, I mean he's the guy that they need to kind of offset that pressure and that load that they put on CeeDee Lamb, because this running back room isn't great. Rico, I thought was going to be better than he is. He's pretty mid. With Zeke, it's just not a great
they did face two tough defenses to start the season.
That's a great point.
As the season goes on, I think they'll have their games.
Yeah,
but Saints are a really talented defense though, and very veteran.
Yeah, I think you're not going to see Derek Carr throwing 70-yard touchdowns every single game. So I think that don't expect that to continue.
Rashid Shaheed's production will dip at times.
Yeah, and this Cowboys last year, Dak was awful through the first 5 weeks. He was terrible, but finished with 36 touchdowns. So it's like I'm going to give the Cowboys, I'm not going to write them off too soon. And they're a 1-1. I feel like everybody's 1-1 right now. I feel like there are a ton of teams that are just it's right there. It's only first 2 weeks in the season, so it's not lost, but it's not what you want to see in your home opener to a Saints team that's not really highly regarded. So
I think the Saints are earning some cred.
They are.
But I think that they're a team that we'll see as the season goes on. How much does that hold on? Because I mean, I'm looking at this Saints team. And are they peaking too soon? We've seen a lot of teams do this early in the season where they peak very early. It's a very veteran team. So I don't think that they're going to just fall off a cliff and finish 7-9.
No.
Or 7-10, whatever the new 17 games.
17 games, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we'll see as the season goes on. But the Cowboys, though, they are kind of a bit of a one-trick pony on offense with CeeDee Lamb. Because, I mean, in terms of the versatility and there are other ways to win, they don't have any other dominant traits as an offense to beat teams that are going to be able to key in and stop CeeDee. I expect CeeDee to keep going off all season long, no matter the matchup, because he's a great player. But this defense, this game, is kind of how I expected him to look week 1. And they ran into the dysfunctional Browns, who are without Nick Chubb. Hey, they look great. But this defense is new. Is adjusting to a new DC the way he wants to figure out how to use his guys. I think that we're going to see as the season goes on, I think they're going to get better on defense especially. But I do think that they just got caught playing the Saints at the wrong time. It's just a tough seeing the Saints in week 2 when they're kind of at their peak right now, it might be. And seeing them when the defense is still kind of trying to figure some things out. I think the Cowboys will get better as the season goes on. But it's just a tough time to see the Saints when they saw them.
Yeah, I'm good on this game. Anything else you want to touch on?
No. It just seems like the Cowboys may be the Cowboys, and they're all in. But, I mean, it kind of seems like this is the thing of years past. And I know I want to touch on one more thing with the Cowboys. This is a potential take that I have about Micah Parsons. These defensive pass rushers, they come into the league, they're hot. You know, like Nick Bosa, Khalil Mack, Myles Garrett. TJ Watt is kind of like he doesn't follow this trend. TJ Watt is different. But a lot of these edge rushers, like a Micah Parsons, he looks very similar. They come into the league, they're very hot early, unstoppable. But they start to get paid, and then they start to get banged up, and they're not as effective. He's the only guy of these 3 that they're talking about that needs to get paid that they haven't paid. I haven't heard much about contract talks with him. I think this, in my opinion, I think this could be a player that they end up trading at the end of the season. I mean, I think that with the way they're kind of stacking the offense, and they want to be effective on offense, they want to have a guy like Mike Zimmer. If they do keep the coaching staff at the end of the season and they end up winning 12 games again like they've done the past 2-3 years, great. I think they may end up trading a guy like Micah Parsons and try to load up on draft capital to kind of bring more youth and talent into this team to where on offense they really need defense they could use as well, especially in the front 7. So
I don't hate that take.
Yeah, Micah Parsons, I think, is a player that we could end up seeing getting traded at the end of the season, especially these edge rushers that are highly valuable, young, like he is, getting 2, 3 first-round picks for. I could see the Cowboys doing something like that at the end of the season because he's the only
I don't
3
hate
of those
that.
guys that they drafted that are not getting paid. I just want to put that out there because I think that's something that I kind of have an opinion on that I think might happen.
I like that. What
Yeah.
game you got next on that list?
Seahawks, Pats, Seahawks at Patriots.
Want me to start it?
Yeah, you can start it if you'd like to as well, bro. But if you want me to start, you want me to start? I'll
Do your
start it.
thing. Do your thing.
Yeah, I'll start it. Patriots are kind of are a team that you're seeing on the field. I don't think there's anything else to them. I think they are who you see on the field. I think one guy who is very impressive right now to start this season is their young corner Christian Gonzalez. I think Ramondre Stevenson looks legit. Very impressed by him.
Yeah.
They're really leaning into him and their offense in terms of getting consistent drives and being able to have an easy button in terms of the run game, breaking tackles, extending drives, short yardage. They ran some wildcat with him this week. He is kind of the heart of this team right now. So shout out Ramondre Stevenson. He looks great. Jacoby, pro QB, probably a top 32 QB in this league, I believe. Special teams, though, that kicker is going to cost him some games. I don't want to get too deep in the weeds with the Patriots, but I do actually think this is a competent team that I'm going to have something to say about tomorrow in the team previews, or week 3 preview. But I do like the Patriots in terms of they're going to be a 4 or 5 win team, but no one's going to be an easy out versus this team all season long. And, I think the Seahawks kind of found that out. And Seahawks O-line, dude. I think they got problems on offensive line in their trenches. On offense, at least. Their defense looks great. But, yeah, they got some issues on their offensive line. You want to touch on them?
Yeah, this Patriots team, they picked up Antonio Gibson.
He made some plays, bro.
He had 11 carries, 96 yards, bro. Like
he broke off 2 big runs.
He broke up a 45-yarder. But if he can compliment Ramondre and not have...
You got a little 1-2, bro.
Okay, Patriots, okay. I like Jalen Polk a lot. He only had 2 catches, but they just don't really have much... Their identity is running the football, and everything is based off that. So, in terms of just receiving, don't bank on any Patriots guys eclipsing 800 yards on the season.
The only player you want to touch in fantasy football on this entire team is Ramondre Stevenson. Don't touch anybody else.
Well, Hunter Henry had 8 catches, 109 yards, so that's not bad. But
he had one really long screen that he took.
35-yarder.
Yeah, he took for a pretty big chunk, but I don't know if that's gonna be a consistent thing. He did get a lot of their touches, and in terms of receiving threats, I think that he is probably their biggest threat as of right now. Maybe the season can go on, and like we touched on Jalen Polk, maybe he can break out a little bit. I do like Jalen Polk as well. But Hunter Henry is the only real receiving threat right now, and he's a veteran, so he knows how to get open. He's reliable underneath. So
I think Seahawks, they're missing. Kenneth Walker brings such a dynamic aspect to this team.
They missed him big time this game.
Yeah, and Charbonnet didn't have a great game rushing at all, and that's just the difference between them and them keeping Charbonnet in such a limited role when Kenneth is active is because every time you give Kenneth the ball, he runs 100%. That's why he's hurt all the time.
He's explosive.
And he is a threat to take it to the house at any time. With Charbonnet, you're getting 3 or 4 yards.
He's
an
RB2. I've kind of been underwhelmed with him so far in his pro career.
He did have a 1-yard plunge into the end zone, so whatever. But
hey, he's got touchdowns in back-to-back weeks.
Dude, bet on Zach Charbonnet touchdown. Anytime touchdown, yeah. But Zach he's gonna have another probably big workload again this week because I think Kenneth is out again. So it's in terms of just volume, it's gonna be there because they have to run the ball, and there's really no one that they lean on except for him to run the football. But
shout out Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Yes, bro.
Best game of his career so far.
Yeah.
I'm not super impressed by him as a player. Honestly, I don't really think he has. He just doesn't pass the eye test when I watch him on the field.
Yeah.
Got a lot of catches this game, 100 yards, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Good for him, but I mean, the real guy you're looking at is DK Metcalf. DK Metcalf
He's an animal.
broke off that long touchdown.
Hit a
where
weird
he,
ass celly.
Yeah, he talked about that. It was very weird. I mean, dude was pretty cringy about that. But, I mean, in terms of the player, great player on the field. He is an easy button for this offense, so they need him all season long. Tyler Lockett was clutch in the overtime. I mean, that offensive line, they look like they might have problems. We'll see how they go as the season goes on. But in terms of, like, the division, when they play a team like the 49ers, they're going to give a team like the 49ers a lot of problems in terms with their defense. Yeah. And those receiving threats they have. When they play the 49ers, that's going to be a really fun game to watch because of the matchup. But, I mean, they're just happy to get out of here with a win. Patriots are a scrappy early season team. Season outlook, they're going to win like 4 or 5 games. But
you can't overlook them because of their play style. Yeah.
They will steal a win here or there. And, I mean, I got some preview tomorrow.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I'm good with them.
Yeah, not much to say about that game. We got Bucs Lions after this.
Where are the damn Cardinals? I'm ready to go off.
Oh no, don't worry. I saved that one right after this.
Bet. What
Actually, those are my notes on that game. It literally just says Cade go off.
Bet.
Don't worry, we got your moment, bro.
All right, thank you.
Bucs Lions. This is the last
Bucs
early
Lions.
slate game we had. We got 10 early slate games this week, bro. That's why we're still talking like this.
Let's go.
We got but yeah, bro. This game when we previewed it. This Lions offensive coordinator's lost his damn mind, bro. I mean, dude, what is he doing?
This is my go-off button
Where
right
is
now.
Laporta? Where is David Montgomery?
Yep.
Where is Laporta? Where is David Montgomery? Those are the engine of the offense. Dude is leaning into the little sweet treats, bro, he's got in the offense with Jahmyr Gibbs and Jameson Williams trying to feed them the ball. And it's like explosive players, yes. They are accents to an offense. They are not the engine.
I like that.
The engine, accents. They are accents to the offense. Very electric accents to the offense. But they are not the engine. The engine is Montgomery, and the engine is Laporta underneath having the clean possession hands where he can run after the catch. He can get open downfield a little bit too. Athletic guy. But those are the tone setters in offensive running and passing the ball. Amon-Ra St. Brown hasn't been able to produce much because they're not running the ball. They're not running their play action. They're dropping back with Goff trying to feed Jameson Williams catches like he's a number 1 receiver. And it's like, dude, Bucs defense, known for stopping the run, it's Todd Bowles. Yeah. We impose our will because we are the Detroit Lions. We have our top 3 offensive line in the league. We have an elite power run game with Montgomery that is a tackle breaker that wears down the defense. Where is he? I don't know. Maybe they're not the kneecap biters anymore, bro. Maybe they got kind of full of themselves and they think they're these front runners that are the best team in the NFC. And maybe they got a little ego.
Yeah.
Maybe I bet on them to figure it out. But if they want to drop back Goff and try to feed these receivers that aren't really there in terms of straight up winning routes downfield, this is not a recipe for success for them.
If you had to guess, how many attempts do you think Goff had?
Knowing them, bro, 50.
55.
55. Oh my gosh, dude.
You said 50 as a joke, bro. It was worse than you thought.
Joke. It was a joke.
Yep.
Dude. Oh my gosh. I could go off all day about the Lions, bro, but I mean, hey, shout out Aiden Hutchinson.
Yeah.
Dude's elite.
Hell of a game, dude.
He's one of these edge rushers though. I think he's one of these edge rushers though that I'm talking about where like they go off really early in their career and they start getting banged up. We've already seen him get banged up a little bit.
Yeah.
They need him if they want to win a Super Bowl. Yeah. They cannot be relying on him to win games for them defensively. No. Buccaneers, though, really quick, I'll touch on them. Yeah. I'll let you go ahead really quick. Go ahead.
No, you pretty much said exactly what I'm thinking with this team. With David Montgomery, I don't know. Like, I don't know if I'm like missing something. If we're missing something, like
nothing has changed.
Their
this
entire
is the same offense.
Yeah, I know, but like
they want to play a different style of ball, and they're just fools.
Yeah, I don't know if they thought people were gonna catch on to them and stack the box against them and make them throw the ball, so they're doing what they think teams are expecting them not to do.
OC's lost his damn mind is what happened.
Yeah, but
Ben Johnson, what's up?
I don't care. You talked about going after like their draft assets and like kind of glorifying them a bit. There's no need for that because, like you said, I like the accents. I might have to use that. Accents.
They are accents, elite accents to the offense
elite,
with their
though.
Explosive ability and are able to counter when defenses are gassed or when defenses are off balance with your play action and your power run.
Yeah.
Their accents.
I don't want to steal your thunder here with Amon-Ra, but he did like he had a pretty big game on paper, but he had a bunch of like 10, 12-yard catches, which is like perfect. I mean, that's what he is, but giving him 18 targets and then also giving Jameson Williams 11, that is a huge red flag right there.
This is not a pass-first offense. You ground and pound with Montgomery, and you set a tone.
Yeah, and yeah, man, Sam Laporta, I forgot he was even on the damn team the way he has been utilized in the first 2 weeks.
What is going on, dude? Is he hurt? Like, do we not know something about Sam Laporta? Because he's just non-existent, and he was expected to be a massive part of the offense after how he looked in last season, his rookie year.
I have one request. If you're the Lions, can you stop running the ball for just one more week? Get through the Cardinals, and then you can go back to running the ball. But
oh man, if they decide to run the ball this week, Montgomery against the Cardinals, Montgomery's going to have 203 touchdowns.
Yes, I will not argue that at all.
Montgomery will have 200 yards and 3 touchdowns if they decide to feed him this week.
Yep, I'm right. I can't even, as a Cardinal, I can't even deny that, dude. Like, we don't have anyone to stop the run.
Yeah, we'll get into the preview. We'll get into the preview tomorrow. Don't worry about that.
Fuck's sake.
Finishing up on the Bucs and Lions game.
Yeah, right? Bucs.
Baker, man. Elite competitor at bottom line.
That touchdown he had got me hype, bro. Dude, my God. Putting the foot in the ground.
I love Baker Mayfield, man. He's so much fun to watch, dude. Yeah. He's such an easy guy to root for. I mean, I can't believe the Browns even let him go in the first place. I couldn't believe that they wanted to move on from him and get Deshaun Watson. It's like, you drafted this guy first overall. He had the best rookie quarterback season in like league history at the time. Mm-hmm. And it's like he got banged up in one season, in the season where he wanted to get paid. They won 12 games, went to the playoffs, beat the Steelers in the playoffs, and then they just wanted to upgrade. It's like, whoa. Browns are very arrogant for that, and I think that Baker Mayfield's kind of reminding everybody about the talent that he actually is, and I'm excited for him. He's got, like, on their offense, like I was mentioning with other teams, he's got a really good easy button. Mike Evans. Chris Godwin's looking great.
Godwin's
looking great, but when you have a guy like Mike Evans who is your easy button and other guys can play off that, a guy like Mike Godwin is looking great, and he's bouncing back as well.
I just thought about this. For the past 5-6 years, ever since I was, like, really getting into football, like, around, like, 11, 12, I think Godwin and Mike Evans might be the most consistent wide receiver tandem of this past, like, 20 years. I don't want to, maybe that's an exaggeration, but, like, think of another solid tandem that has, like, dude, they're ageless wonders, both of them.
Godwin's been in the league now, I think, for 7-8 years, I believe.
Yeah.
He's been in there for about 7, 8, and Mike Evans been here since about 2012, 2013, I believe. So he's been hanging around here for a while. He's been 1,000 yards, like, damn near every single season.
Yeah.
Probably a Hall of Famer.
Ever since I can remember, I just think of the Bucs having Godwin and Evans and them just eating. So, I don't know. I just thought that was, in terms of just consistency, like, I want more rushing consistency for this Bucs team if they want to actually.
Problem.
I think that they need to lead into Bucky Irving. I'm telling you right now, lead into him. Don't enough of this. They almost split carries.
What was
Bucky's
this efficiency this week? I saw he had about 22 yards.
22 yards, 7 yards, so not great. 3 yards a carry. But if you compare that to Rachaad White, who had 10 carries for 18 yards.
Well, Rashad's like we kind of know what he is.
He's
as a rusher
slow mo,
right
bro.
We know what he is as a rusher right now. So, I mean, I do like Bucky Irving as a player.
Yeah.
But in terms of the role that they're going to be forcing him into, because Rashad is not effective on the ground, it's not conducive to what he needs for him to be successful.
He needs a bigger back that's going to wear the team down, and then you put Irving in there. Yeah.
He is an accent.
Yes.
A good accent.
Beautiful accent. But he's
accent.
fucking. Whoa, pause.
But he is a good accent. But I think that as the season goes on, I think Todd Bowles is going to keep his guys competitive.
Yeah.
I think that offensive passing game is going to be one of the best in the league. I think that they need to be able to establish a run game, but they're not turning the ball over.
Nope.
Defense is effective. They need to stay healthy. But I really think they're just missing that. Like, if they were to be one of the best teams in the league, they're missing that one bigger back to be able to feed carries to. And they're trying to do it with Rachaad White. It's not working. You know, we'll see if they end up trying to make a trade or and end up like signing a free agent or something like that, because I don't think these two rushers are going to be effective for a ground game for them.
Yeah, they
Big win for them though.
no,
Very big
whenever
win for the Bucs.
they're 2-0. So you
I
can say
wanted to
whatever
pick
you
them
want.
so bad in this game too, just because the Lions OC has lost his mind. But
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, are we up to my game yet, please?
Yeah, bro. Next, we're off Bucs Lions now, and we're on to the second window games, bro. Rams Cardinals. I was wrong about this. Rams can't stay healthy. They're about to be the IR team of this season.
Yeah.
And
They're in trouble.
yeah, I don't know how they're gonna be beating anybody.
I don't want to hear shit about Rams being hurt, Niners being hurt. I don't want to hear any of that. You deal with injuries in the league.
Yeah.
You have to deal with it.
Yeah.
We lost our best pass rusher and our rookie first-round pick on the D-line. And
Kyler's legit. Marvin's legit.
Yeah. But I'm talking about on the defense side of the ball. Like, we had lost our two most impactful guys on the D-line. And, I mean, you still had Kyron Williams and Blake Corum, so I know Jonah Williams went down. That's a big loss. I'm not going to disregard that as a one-off. Like,
Jonah was all right in his career.
Starting offensive tackle, you can't really. Dennis Gardeck ate this.
Dennis Gardeck.
Don't hate on him. The Barbarian, yeah. But let's start with the offense, because Kyler Murray is a legitimate MVP candidate. I'm telling you right now, the way this offense
Pocket movement looks really good.
Dude, he looks.
His play extension pocket movement is really sick.
He looks a lot more aware. Like, I'm very impressed by his pocket presence and kind of just feeling the rush more. I feel like Kyler, you talked about it in prior podcasts. Like, I don't really think he had that like pocket feel to him necessarily. Like, I think when he got out of the pocket, it was more of a decision to run or just scramble. There wasn't really like feeling the rush. That touchdown pass he had to Elijah Higgins, where he kind of was maneuvering the pocket, feeling the rush, spinning out of it. Finally got to his left and threw a freaking
8 or 9
dart.
seconds.
Yeah, dart to Elijah Higgins, who great backup tight end, by the way. I won't lie, but the whole storyline has to be Marvin Harrison Jr. When he caught that first touchdown, it was a sigh of relief to this entire state, because after the first week, you're like, dude, are the Cardinals generally stupid? Are we never gonna use our 4th overall pick? He caught that touchdown. I think everyone in the stadium, deep breath. All right, chill. Like, we threw them the ball. He mossed him, dude. Touchdown, okay? And then this is Marvin Harrison Jr. being a mature receiver coming in the league as a 22-year-old already. Just the presence of mind on his second touchdown. Kyler is rolling right? His route was about 8 or 9 yards down the field. The linebacker was with him the entire way. This is what you're taught when you're a kid. If you're a receiver and you're literally running your route, and your guy is the guy that's covering you is cutting off that little route, either come underneath or go over the top. And Marvin saw basically play extension, and just the presence of mind to scramble drill. But recognize that this guy's playing me underneath here. Let me take him over the top here and put that's
a little chemistry right there.
A little chemistry that you're seeing, but it's just the nuances of the game that Marvin Harrison Jr. already has as a rookie, which is, I think most rookies there run their route. They don't really recognize, I'm kind of covered here, but I'm going to run my route, you know? Yeah. Marvin Harrison Jr. is like, fuck that. I'm running up the field here. I'm putting my hand up for Kyler. Kyler's season, there was a dot again, and Marvin Harrison Jr., what an extension to get in the end zone after. That's
for the end zone.
That's what you want from your 4th overall pick. You want guys who are just giving the full extension. It took all 6'4" of them to put that ball in the end zone. And it was, talk about the first touchdown, I was hyped. The second touchdown, I was like, let's fucking go. But as just a Cardinals fan, you don't really see many 31-point deficit victories or margin of victories as a Cardinals fan ever. I can't remember the last time we just beat the shit out of a team like we did this week. And for it to be the Rams, too. Yeah. For it to be the Rams, too, it's just the cherry on top, man. James Conner, dude, he's legit. He's a legit RB1 in this league.
He's a tone setter. He's a guy you can feed carries to. And wear down a defense
Yeah,
with.
and Kyler using his legs, dude. If Kyler can stay healthy, he's gonna be in the top 5 MVP voting by the end of the year, because with how this offense is running, the way Drew Petzing's kind of figuring out how to use Marvin, they got Trey McBride more involved this game too. They're not giving fucking Greg Dortch as many targets as he did last week. This is the Cardinals team offensively that I thought was going to be the week 1 team against the Bills. That's why I was so worried week 1 with how that game went. But this is more like it. We'll get into the preview after this, but we'll talk about that. I'll worry about the next week when we get there. But what do you got to say? Sorry, that's my little Cardinals,
bro.
right?
That's literally what my notes said. It literally just said, "K, go off."
Yeah.
I mean, I got some things I want to say about the game as well. Coming into this game, I thought the Rams' offensive game plan in week 1 was very gimmicky, especially when Nakua went down. I think they were very gimmicky. I think that they tried to do it again, and Kupp went down. And now it's like that chemistry that Stafford and Kupp were trying to rely on. It's not there, and now it's like you get steamrolled by a team that's tired of getting beat by you. They were lost 9 straight. The Cardinals had lost 9 straight in Arizona to the Rams. So it was a pretty good sigh of relief for them to be able to show out versus a divisional opponent. Tre'Davious White, man, tough.
Toasted.
We'll see. I'm stoked because the Bears get to play him in about 2 weeks. So
hey, DJ
that's
Moore,
looking like I'm excited to see them in about 2 weeks. But yeah, I mean, it's just a Kyler, and seeing his play extension, seeing him be able to protect himself, stay behind the line of scrimmage, keep his eyes downfield. I mean, he's trusting the offensive line. This is what an athletic QB who has the ability to extend plays looks like when he trusts his offensive line. He trusts his offensive line, and that's a really good sign for the rest of the season outlook. So, good look on the Cardinals. I don't really have much to say about them. I think that their defense is the same defense. I don't think this is indicative of their season, and they're just going to be overachieving. I think they do have a lot of injuries, and they're not very strong, specifically in the front 7. I think a matchup that they have next week, we'll talk about it in the preview. But it's going to be depending on if the teams go and attack that front 7 or not. And this week the Rams weren't able to, and the Cardinals went off. So
another thing I just want to touch on real quick is we see what happens when the Ravens have all the talent but not the scheme. This is when you have the scheme and not necessarily the talent, but still being effective. Jonathan Gannon is
he's showed some flashes of coaching and being prepared and getting his guys to play above their talent level.
And his demeanor about how he goes about things, the way he's kind of changing the culture here in Arizona is like, it's fun to watch because for the longest time, I remember in 2015, 2016, our defense was feared. Like we were.
They had Antonio Cromartie, Patrick Peterson back there.
Yeah,
bro. That was fun to watch.
That was and we had guys that could get after the quarterback too.
Calais Campbell.
Yeah,
they had Chandler Jones.
Yeah, that was that's a scary team, right? And then we kind of got away from it, and we're just kind of like the Chargers have been, just like these pushover pussies for you just run right over them.
Soft on both sides of the ball.
And you can't really be an enforcer. You can't really win games like that if you don't have a solid defense that can just like go out there and just punch you in the mouth, And that's what Jonathan Gannon is doing. He's kind of bringing this mentality to Arizona of like this kind of Philly mentality of like
pew, 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 pew. Big plays, explosions. Pew.
Yeah, seriously. But defensively, this team is light years ahead of where I thought they're going to be in terms of just dialing up rushes and stuff like that, because some of these rushes that Gannon are bringing out, they're like, okay, like I see what we're doing here, and just imagine we get our top pass rusher back and our first round pick. Like we might be in a pretty good place come next year when you're fully healthy, right? But
this season they look like a team that's going to be pushing for the division with the way the Niners look and the way the Seahawks look and the Rams being banged up. They're going to be pushing for the division, and I mean, if this offense keeps up their output they've had through the first 2 weeks and they start to get more chemistry between Marvin and Kyler, we'll see how the season goes for them. But, I mean, this team is going to push for the division this year.
Oh, it's beautiful thing to hear, not from my mouth, but from a neutral point of view. So
yeah, I think this offense, the way they look very explosive. They have a tone-setting run game. When you have a quarterback who's trusting the offensive line and those complements around him with the defense that's able to maybe punch above their weight a little bit, like the Titans have done for years.
yes, yeah.
I mean, we'll see as the season goes on, but I think they're going to be able to push for the division.
Thank you for saying that. I totally agree. So, what game you got next? You good here?
Yeah, we'll go Bengals Chiefs. Okay. Ooh, man.
Yikes.
That was just such an weird game, and it was just very Chiefs' way to end it. I mean, just well, you can talk about that if you want to. I'm just going to talk about the just how the game kind of went in a way. It was Chiefs kind of shooting themselves in the foot with turnovers, not being able to get off the field on some key downs. The left tackle basically trying to throw the game. I didn't know that was going to be the matchup with Trey Hendrickson versus their rookie. I don't even remember his name. He got some funky name, and he just got blasted all game, giving up penalties, sacks, pressure, blowing up plays single-handedly all game long. And Pacheco's hurt, and they're back with the kids Carson Steele. I did like the way he's ran the ball at points, but he had a fumble. He didn't look super efficient. I wonder how much this is going to affect their whole offense as a whole. Travis Kelce looks fat and whipped. He doesn't look like he's hungry for a championship again. He looks like he's ready to go chill with Taylor.
That's what happens when you get a girl, bro. You just get fat. You get motivated.
He looks like he's just been chilling and just being dad bod, hanging out at home with his girlfriend all off season. He does not look like he wants to win another Super Bowl. We'll see as the season goes.
That little cute motion where he kind of just walks into his route.
Oh man, stop.
Hey, fatty, let's go. That shit is not working.
He does not look in shape. He does not look like he's looking to three-peat. I have a lot of questions about this team. Their defense, they don't have a punch. There's no. I mean, Chris Jones is still there, but in terms of their front seven around Chris Jones, I have some major questions about them going forward after this game.
I agree with you.
And then the receiving game in terms of the talent. I mean, Rashee Rice, you're lucky to have him because outside of Rashee Rice, there's nobody you're really looking at that scares the defense. Yeah, Xavier Worthy's fast. What's his name? Their DB, the
Cam Taylor Britt.
The
guy who had the fucking nuts. Yeah. That was one of the greatest interceptions.
He kind of owned Worthy this game. And, I mean, Worthy's a rookie. He's got a full season ahead of him. But I don't believe in those style of receivers to be able to hold up. It's like how I feel about Jameson Williams. Accent to the offense. Yeah. He's being relied upon.
Yeah.
Don't like it. I think that they're 2-0. But this team doesn't look like they are going to three-peat. I may eat my words on that, but I don't think I am. I feel pretty good about having a read for this team going forward after 2 games. They do not look like.
Hold on. I just want to ask you real quick. Sorry to cut you off.
No, go.
If you had to pick one team to win the Super Bowl right now based on the first 2 weeks, we're going out of order here, folks. But I just want to see
Houston Texans.
Okay. Oh, I don't disagree with you. I like that. Continue. I just want to hear your thought.
Elite in all 3 phases. We'll get into the review when we talk about them. But
I just want to hear your thought.
This team does not look like they are ready to three-peat.
I agree.
think that they're a bad matchup away from losing. They win in the fourth quarter. They know how to take advantage of the moment when they need to, but they're a bad matchup away from losing any game any given week. So deep shout out to the Bengals for playing them tough, but I don't think this game was very indicative of the talent or the quality of play on the field of either team. I think this was just a sloppy game on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, I did not think I was going to be saying that Patrick Mahomes so far in 2024 has thrown for 442 passing yards, which is
he's thrown for that many. It doesn't feel like
14th in the league. I know. The first game kind of, I don't know. The first game kind of was his lowest, I think, passing yard total in his entire career.
Doesn't feel like he has that much production, but I mean, go ahead.
3 touchdowns, 3 picks, and a 47.1 QBR. The QBR is 19th in the NFL.
If there's anybody who's going to figure it out, it's the Chiefs. But I just don't see the talent on the team to be able to hang with some of the best teams in the league.
Especially with Pacheco going down. He has a lot to do with what they want to do on offense.
He's their tone setter.
Yeah, and they need Carson Steele to grow into that role and mature quick because I think I saw stat today on ESPN that the Chiefs are 31st in the NFL in terms of yards, air yards per attempt. I think it's like 5.
Bears are probably 32nd, huh?
Probably. But that's just not what you expect from a team with Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, and all this speed. You know what I mean? So
Most definitely not.
I don't know. We'll see. I'm with you. They don't look like the team that will three-peat, but they are 2-0. And if we look back to last year, we were having these same talks after they dropped. I forget who they were playing, but middle of the season, you're like, wow, this Chiefs team might not even like be playoff contenders. They might even make the playoffs, and they go on turn off during the postseason. Yeah. So as long as the Chiefs,
some of those games were rigged in the postseason. Just to put that out there, I felt some of the games, like especially the Super Bowl, I felt like there was a lot of suspicious activity and no calls by the refs in some of those games. So I think there's a little bit of, I don't know if they're, I mean, they tend to get those.
Yeah.
They tend to get
weird.
those now.
It's
so
weird how that works.
They tend to get those. But, I mean, I think that in the playoffs there was a little bit of leaning in their favor in some of the calls they got. So,
yeah.
the talent of the team and the way they're functioning does not look like winning football.
Yeah, I'm with you. Speaking of no calls and rigged games, the ending to this game was just mind-blowing to me.
It's very on par with everything you see from them.
Yeah, it's...
They're almost like baiting. They're like the way he throws the ball down the field. He's just like baiting, basically, a flag.
And what do you want the guy from the Bengals to do? Like, in that situation, he could have timed his jump better. Okay, you could say that. But he's making a play on the football. It's pretty bang-bang. Whenever you slow-mo something, obviously it's going to look like he got there early. But in live action in real time, it was pretty bang-bang. Maybe he got there a little bit early, but you can't throw a flag on that and set him up for a game-winning field goal. That's not something you do. You don't insert yourself and be the reason that a team wins the game if you're a ref. I think the best referee jobs that I've seen are when you don't notice them. Because if you don't notice the referees at all and you're not questioning calls, or you're not questioning their thoughts and whatever, that's when you know that you're reffing a good game, because it's between the two teams. There shouldn't ever be a narrative here where the refs are making a call that wins a team a game. I just don't think that's the refs' place. I don't think that the Chiefs deserve to win this game. And you bail them out, and now they're 2-0. This Bengals team drops to 0-2, and you're seeing guys like Jamar Chase crash out after some calls that are made, and you're just like, what are we doing here? I like you said. I don't know, dude.
I think
it's just
frustration overall. I think Bengals team's just frustrated. But, I mean, I'm not looking at, these, the Bengals are the type of team that may get better as the season goes on. The Chiefs are losing some talent, and some guys just don't look in shape. I think they really wanted Hollywood Brown to be there for them this season, and I think him getting injured, literally one catch into the preseason, is a killer for them.
It is.
I think that it's just Kelsey not being in shape and then Pacheco going down. Pacheco and Hollywood Brown were key players for them this season that they were going to rely upon. When they changed up their style of play last year and they started to play a more physical run game, tough defense, bend, don't break, don't let guys score touchdowns, we score the touchdowns. I think that it was a different style of ball that really impressed me, that I didn't think they had it in them to play that style of ball. They did that. But you're going to be relying on a guy like Carson Steele and Samaje Perine. And it's like,
that's not Pacheco.
Are they going to be, and it's not Pacheco, are they going to be able to keep that same style of offense they want to play up with those guys out? I don't know. We'll see. Chiefs, if anybody's going to figure it out, it's going to be them. They get the calls. They seem to be a little bit of favorites by the league. So, I mean, if anybody's going to be there in the end, I mean, I won't be surprised if it's them. But in terms of winning football and the team that's on the field, I don't like it. My
final two things. One, as long as Taylor Swift is in the building, you can guarantee that the Chiefs Chiefs are going to get calls, and whenever the Chiefs score a touchdown,
especially when they're in pride time and they got the Swifties watching.
Oh my gosh, dude, it's so freaking annoying. I have never seen something like that ever in my life. Whenever someone who is dating, you know how many times NFL players have been dating other celebrities? You know what I mean?
Russell Wilson,
Sierra, or whatever. They don't pan to them every time they make a catch. Every time Travis Kelce,
they're trying to reach out to more like a younger female audience. And by doing that, they're hoping to get more female audience.
Oh, I know what they're doing. I just hate it. So stop it, please, NFL. You're not listening to this, but
Yeah.
Don't fucking do that shit. Anyways.
Yeah, I think they know none of the
But-
NFL fans like that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they care though. One thing about the Bengals, they need to feed Zach Moss, give him the ball more, take some pressure off that passing game. Let Jamar Chase be a sweet accent. Also to tight end Mike Gesicki, look great.
Bro,
I think
he's
Mike
explosive.
Gesicki might be in store for a breakout this season. I've been waiting on for an athlete like him to break out for a while now, and it looks like he may be in store for that this year. So when they get T. Higgins back, they got those two on the outside, but in the short intermediate underneath reliable hands. I like Gesicki in the way he's looked so far this season, and I'm looking forward to seeing him as the season goes on.
And use Jermaine Burton. Like, he had a big catch, and you got to utilize him more in the offense, especially when T. Higgins
is out. He must have pissed
out.
somebody off if he's not getting snaps.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. But
yeah, he had to piss somebody off.
The one thing I want to touch on before we move on is I want to put Trent McDuffie in the conversation up with Sauce Gardner and Pat Surtain as one of the best corners in the league. I think I think with this Chiefs team, there's so much other nonsense going on with them that he kind of gets overlooked of how good he's been.
Yeah.
They
develop corners really well.
Yeah, he was a integral part of that team winning a Super Bowl last year with how he was able to him and Snead. Yeah, they were
physical and played like press man and
yes.
stuff like that and just made it tough on receivers was really impressive.
I want to go on the record saying I think Trent McDuffie's if as good as Sauce Gardner and Pat Surtain. I think he's if he's not
he's top.
He's one
top
or two,
10.
he's three.
Top 10 for sure.
I think he's three.
Up there. He's working his way up for sure.
Yeah, I think he's 3 in the league right now. I'm very impressed by him. He doesn't do anything. Like, I don't really hear any headlines about him because
I've heard a little bit about him, but not much though.
Yeah, I just think he's unbelievable player. So I just want to put that out there. But I'm good in this game if you are.
Yeah, I am too.
What game you got next on the list?
It's the last second window game. It's kind of a stinker. I mean, we'll talk about it a little bit.
Yeah,
it's Steelers Broncos. I mean, Steelers are the Steelers. They're going to win 9 games. They're not going to have a losing season. Justin Fields looks like he's playing game manager football. Athletic ability is a threat.
Yeah.
He's able to just make plays when he needs to make them. Bo Nix is horrible.
Yeah. He's not good.
Is there anything else that needs to be said? I mean, just the Bo Nix looks like a bottom 3 QB in the league. I think that they may be in store for a tank and maybe Josh Rosen type of switch up. We'll see if they go for a full rebuild or if they want to just try to tank for a QB. I mean, they're in store for either one of those. I think they're going to be one of the worst teams in the league. I think they may want to bench Bo Nix at some point. I think they'd probably look better with Jared Stidham. So
really,
yeah, I think the Broncos, like Bo Nix is bottom 3 QB in the league for me right now, and I don't think it was just the Steelers defense that made him look bad, and the Seahawks defense. He looks really rough.
Yeah,
rookie QB, yeah, but I mean he looks rough.
I didn't like him coming into drafts when he got drafted. I don't think he's the answer for them long term either. The Steelers team is just they don't play like an NFL offense. You know what I mean? They play like a college team almost. Like they go out there.
They didn't have to do much to win this game. They just show up and they walked away with the win basically.
Yeah, I mean this defense is unbelievable. Don't get me wrong. Like I think this defense showed a lot of people that they're legit because this Falcons team was able to move the ball on an Eagles team that looked.
T.J. Watt wrecked that game.
Yeah, but I mean, there's 10 other guys on the field. T.J. Watt obviously had a huge part in that win, but slowing down on a Falcons team like that is pretty impressive. Like
I think the Falcons got to find themselves. I think they're starting to.
Yeah, that Kirk touched on it after his interview.
We're gonna get into that game in a little bit.
I'm good with this game though.
There's not really much to talk about. The Steelers are the same old Steelers with Mike Tomlin. They're gonna win 9 games. They're not gonna have a losing season. There's other games that are way more to say about.
Yeah, I'll let you talk about your team, brother.
I'll start with the Texans, man. I think that this is the best team in the AFC. I mean, C.J. Stroud, his composure and his way that he just gives his guys a chance to make catches. Tank Dell dropping a couple in this game. Game could have been a little bit different if he caught some of those. Bears missed some opportunities too. You know, it's football. The stuff like that happens. Nico Collins, the mismatch that he is unbelievable. I think that him being such a big receiver with the athletic ability, ball skills, run after the catch radius, jump ball, he does it all. It's like I don't really know what Nico Collins can't do. And to have guys that are complements, accents to that with Joe Mixon on the ground game. I know they had a tough time running the ball this game. I think the Bears is maybe the best defense in the league. I'll get into that in a second, but I think that this Texans team, all three phases, they're elite. Defensively, they're able to create mismatches with their edge rushers and the way they just rush interior. They sent blitzes inside, let their pass rushers win one-on-one on the outside. Gave Bears problems all game long.
Yep.
Secondary, they got guys who make plays. Jalen Petrie, Kamari Lassiter. Derek Stingley.
He's up there too, bro.
Derek Stingley, if he continues his play, is going to be up for one of the best corners in the league probably this year.
100%.
And
can't agree more.
Ball skills and just the way he fights every route, dude. I was so impressed by their defense and their offensive composure. And, dude, the kicker, 53, 56, was it 59? Just automatic, dude. He's just banging field goals from any distance, no matter what.
Guess who's my kicker in fantasy?
He was your kicker in this?
Oh, my
Dude,
gosh. I'm
bro.
loving it, dude. Kaimi Fairbairn, he's automatic from 50+. It's not even a question.
It was unbelievable, bro.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, he's got to miss this one. He's got to miss one of these. No, did not. I couldn't believe it, man. It was just, this team is so impressive. When you see a team like this that is elite in all three phases, this defense is going to come together as the season goes on. They got a lot of young guys in the back end. Derek Stingley's in his third year. Petrie, third year. Kamari Lassiter, rookie.
Yeah.
They had, what's his name, the other safety? I forget. He came from the 49ers. I can't remember the name off the top of my head. I really like him, though, as well. And the way
or whatever his name is?
No, Hufanga's still there.
there.
It's another guy. I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but he came from the Niners. He's a veteran. I like him. And then, dude, just their physical presence on defense. I can't say enough about this Texans team and how well-rounded and elite they are on all sides of the ball. So I think this may be their year. And
Jimmy Ward.
Jimmy Ward, yeah. I like Jimmy Ward a lot as well. And just having one veteran like that to complement the youth, it's a great mixture, dude. I mean, talking about the Bears, I was very impressed by them to hang in the game the way they did with Keenan Allen not being there, the offensive line issues they're having, Caleb missing a few throws. Odunze having the MCL sprain that he's playing through.
I didn't know that.
Their inability to run the ball. I mean, dude, the way that defense hung in there, I think this is the best defense in the league, and I'm not being biased in that. They were the best run defense in the league last year. They had the league in interceptions last year. They got better. They're repeating all the same success. It's a Matt Eberflus formula that he has. He makes opposing offenses one-dimensional by stopping the run, and then he has playmakers and a fast defense to make plays in the ball in the back end. He has that formula right now. He has all the players they've drafted, they've signed, they've traded for. This defense is in his image, what he wants it to be, and they're going to keep him in games every single game this season, whether there's a couple injuries or not. This defense plays fast, and they play physical, and they get turnovers. And for them to get after Stroud the way they did and to keep this offense in the game with how lackluster they were, I think this is a very impressive team, and I think they're way better of a team than I think people realize. For them to make it a 6-point game and have a chance to steal one on the road in Houston with the way their offense looked all day, I like the outlook of this season for the Bears. And, I mean, they got a really soft schedule coming up, so they got some things to figure out in terms of protection. I think that's on Caleb and the O-line. I don't think it's just the O-line. I think Caleb's a young QB who got taken advantage of a little bit. I think that they need to be able to run the ball better. They got a softer schedule coming up. I think they'll figure it out. OC is new. But this defense, though, is going to keep them in every single game and maybe win some games like they did in week 1. I don't think that's the only game. I don't think it was a fluke. This is a very legit defense and talented team overall.
You were saying Bears defense best in the league before the game, and I was like, all right, let me take a peek. Dude,
it's Eberflus, bro. He did this with the Colts, and he's got a way better unit than he did with the Colts.
I think you are dead on with how good this defense. They are
People don't know. They'll
unbelievable.
Find out.
They're unbelievable, dude. The way that they just kind of Houston. I mean, their offense is one of the best in the league, no doubt.
This is the best team in the AFC that they just went to Houston.
Yeah, and it should be. And this is probably the most excited a Bears fan and team should be after a loss, because the way that you said they're able to hang in there
a little bit, but I'm not. Look at the schedule they got coming up.
Yep,
they're gonna get some wins.
You pointed that out to me. I was like, yeah, except for the Cardinals, but they they have a pretty cupcake schedule coming up.
We'll talk about that in
yeah.
our team preview tomorrow for sure.
Caleb,
I got some more to say about Caleb too.
I want to see him get the ball out of his hand quick. Like
he did it in the first 3 drives.
He looked so good too. Like
when they started blitzing him though, he wasn't ready for that. He hadn't seen that type of defense before.
Yeah, that's a credit to the Texans, but it's also just his inexperience.
It's a combination.
But Caleb, man, he looked good when he was just getting the ball out. Like they were talking about on the broadcast, like 2.5 seconds. Get the ball out. That's the magic number because any longer you hold on to the ball, this is the NFL. These D linemen are going to get pressure. That's almost inevitable. Very rarely are you going to have a clean pocket for more than 3 seconds.
Yep.
So you have to get the ball out, and that is partly on Caleb, but it's partly on Shane Waldron too to scheme up looks for him that isn't just a one read underneath route where, okay, if that's covered, Caleb tries to make something happen.
They're going to have to be able to get the ball down the field too.
Yeah,
eventually.
Yes.
They need to be able to threaten because they were getting kind of taken advantage of because they were trying to get the ball out quick.
Yeah.
And they didn't have a guy like Keenan Allen who had quick separation underneath and they could rely on for 3rd downs.
Yeah.
And they had no run game to speak of whatsoever as well. So
there
was a lot of pressure on Caleb. I thought something that was really impressive about him was the way he handled the pocket. Yeah, he had some plays where it's like, you're not at USC anymore. But, I mean, the way he handled the pocket and handled the pressure, I think will translate when he's playing weaker defenses. Because the pressure that he was under pressured on 36 of 37 dropbacks. Some of it's on him. He has to recognize the blitz. 2nd game in the league against maybe the best team in the AFC. One of the top 2-3 teams in the NFL.
Yeah.
It's like in their place on a Sunday night in a big stage. I think this is going to carry over. I mean, we look at the schedule they got coming up. I think this team is starting 7-2, 6-3. This defense will win games alone. The offense is going to figure it out. Caleb's development from week 1 to week 2, the way he started the game, was composed in such a big moment. When he's playing games like the Colts, the Rams, the Panthers, the Jags, we're going to see some blowouts.
Yeah.
Patriots.
Yeah.
We're going to see some big wins, and the offense is going to get it. They're going to get it together, but they do need to be able to run the ball more, and he's got to be able to hit some of these throws. But I think under the pressure that he was under in the first 2 weeks, I don't think it's going to be like that all season long.
Yeah, and you got to remember, he's a rookie. I don't care how talented, how much hype. It's week 2, and he's a rookie. You have to keep that in mind. Yep. You can be the most talented guy of all time, but it's a learning curve. You can't expect him to be immediately a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. Like that's just not. It shouldn't be an expectation. You know what I mean? I think we kind of put this unrealistic weight on quarterback shoulders.
They've seen C.J. Stroud, Justin Herbert, and Baker Mayfield go off, and they're like, "Oh, he's picked first overall, so he's next."
No, it's just not fair.
Chicago, there's a lot to overcome.
Yes, and like you said, there's a lot to overcome, and there hasn't been exactly the best history of quarterback play in Chicago. So
typically don't do well with that position.
Yeah, that's
ever.
Ever. But I want to talk about the Texans a little bit here because you touched on Nico Collins. You covered how incredible he is as a player.
Yeah.
I'm impressed with the way Stephon Diggs is carrying himself because I think he was labeled as a diva in
he's got some
Buffalo.
He's got some humble to him this year.
And he's being a leader.
I think he wants to win.
Yeah, he wants to. Yeah, exactly. He wants to win, and he's a vet in this young group. He might not necessarily be considered a veteran in the league. I think he is by now, but he's
about like 30.
Is he that old?
Came into the league in 2015. He was a rookie in 2015, drafted in like the 6th round, I think, by the Vikings.
Yeah, he's shit, you're right, 30. So he is a vet,
and he wants to win, bro.
And he's bringing that veteran presence, and he's leading. He's being a leader on the sideline, and that's what I like. I do want to hold off on labeling him as this like rah team guy. I want to see the Texans overcome some adversity. I want to see them lose some games and then watch Diggs and how he reacts because everyone
they're
can be.
They're not going to lose a lot of games.
Yeah, they're not, but I just, you know what I mean? Like, I want to see adversity and I want to see how he deals with it because everyone can be great after scoring a touchdown in the first drive or one of the first drives of the game. But how do you look when you're down big, and how are you carrying yourself then?
Mm-hmm.
Joe Mixon, I'm worried about that. That injury looked
Cam
bad,
Akers kind of
dude.
looked good aside from the fumble.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty impressed with Cam Akers. I think as added RB2,
Yeah.
he can step in for a game or two and make some plays and sustain some ground game for him.
Yeah,
But
I agree.
they need Mixon though.
Yeah, I texted you after the game. Kamari Lassiter, man,
Ball skills.
the way he tracks the ball for
Looks
a
like
corner,
receiver.
he looks like a receiver. He has crazy ability to just like turn and run with the guy and just be looking for the pick. A lot of these corners are like, you see a guy just drop a ball right in his hands. You're like, dude, how do you not catch
Caught
that?
that one over the shoulder down the sideline.
Bro, that's
That was sweet.
that's an impressive catch for a receiver, much
Yeah,
less a
it was pretty-
DB.
It was pretty sweet.
So, and then you touched on it, Derek Stingley Jr., unbelievable player. So, I'm with you, dude. If I had to pick a team to win the Super Bowl right now, it'd be the Texans.
Yeah, I don't think that's an overreaction, and I don't think like that's a thing that you should feel shy about saying because they built the team for this. And with Stroud playing as composed as he is in his second season, I think they're primed for that.
Want to move on to the Monday night game?
Yeah, last game, man. We got Falcons at Eagles. Talked about this being a weird matchup, you know. After watching the Texans-Bears on Sunday night and then watching this Eagles and Falcons game, I was pretty jealous of those offensive lines they got.
Yeah.
Dude, the way the Eagles were able to just do whatever they wanted on offense. Yeah, they got hit like once or twice with Hurts. Hurts sat back in the pocket and picked if he wanted to run, picked if he wanted to throw it. Dude just literally did whatever he wanted. Saquon holes for days. Yeah,
Yep.
This Falcons defensive front seven is not the best in the league, but they got some players. And the Eagles just did whatever they wanted all game on offense. And the Falcons as well, same thing. Bijan had holes for days. Kirk had time in the pocket. They were able to make plays and do whatever they wanted to as an offense on both sides with Eagles and Falcons. And, yeah, I was a little jealous after watching the Bears game, seeing the offensive lines that these two teams have. They're two of the better ones in the league.
Yeah, I want to touch on Jalen Hurts specifically here for a sec. In the first half, I feel like did something happen to Hurts at
ran a
halftime?
lot.
He ran a lot, but he looked more explosive. Like he looked more like a dual threat guy. Because I always know Jalen Hurts is labeled as like a dual threat quarterback because he can kind of run. I think if he chooses to run and put his like head down and try to make something happen,
He's built like a running back.
yeah, but he doesn't move like a running back sometimes. And I think in the first half you kind of saw him make some people miss, and you're like, oh, dude, why doesn't he do that more? I don't know what was going on. Second half, it did not look like that. It looked like he was back to the old, like, one-gear Jalen Hurts. But I do want to touch on how big of a loss A.J. Brown is to this Eagles offense because, man.
Easy. You talk about an easy button. He's an easy
He
button
is a
mismatch for every team he plays.
And we talked about Texans having Nico Collins as a physical mismatch. He's their Nico Collins.
Nico, DK, Nico.
Yeah.
Or Nico, DK, AJ.
Yeah,
All
and
three of them.
Devontae Smith, love him as a player. He's not a number
Great
one.
player.
Not a number one.
Yeah, he's an excellent number two.
He's a fantastic number two, but
Super impressed by him as his size and his ability to win routes.
Yes.
I'm super impressed by him. And I didn't think that he would be able to hold up coming into the league at his size, but he's actually very impressive as a player and able to win routes, contested catches. He's super impressive.
Yep. I don't know, just this Falcons team, they look like they were trying to get stuff going towards the end of the game. That has a lot to do with the Eagles' defense and why they made it so easy to just go down the field in 3 plays and be in the red zone already.
Yeah.
Got to look at the Eagles there, coaching. It's been a question for a while. Sirianni, if they don't have a good season, it's probably going to be gone.
Saquon catches that ball. We're not talking about this, though.
You're 100% right. But it comes down to those type of plays where you're like, okay, Saquon should have caught that ball. But do you run a different play? Do you run different plays before that to put yourself in a situation to maybe tush push there? You know, like
For sure.
there's a lot of what ifs.
Passing the ball there
But-
with the way they've been running the ball game.
Yeah.
I mean, that is questionable.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, Barkley's
Kellen
got to make
Moore's
that
new.
catch.
Yeah. He's new to their offense. It's week 2.
It's week 2. We
As
can't
the season goes on,
freak out.
this looks like the Eagles look like the best team in the NFC to me. I mean, if I were to look at a Super Bowl right now, I'm
Besides the
talking,
Cardinals,
I'm
yeah.
talking If I'm looking at two teams in the NFC or NFC and AFC right now, I'm looking at Texans Eagles. Like this looks like the two best teams in the league. Trenches, both sides of the ball, dominant. I think that the Falcons, talking about them a little bit, I like the way they run the ball. Bijan's missing something. He's missing some kind of like toughness in the ground game to where he doesn't get tough yards. I think that his agility and his ability to shift his weight, hands, make guys miss, set up jukes, his instincts with that is very impressive. But in terms of a tone setter, 3-down back, I don't think he has it. He's missing something in terms of a toughness and a short yardage, give him the ball. The way that he just let Chauncey Gardner-Johnson just stuff him in the hole at the end of the game, just like, dude. I mean, I like Chauncey Gardner-Johnson as a player, and he's a very tough run versus the pass. He's one of those guys that you hate to go against, but you wish he was on your team.
Yes.
I got something else to say about Chauncey Gardner-Johnson too. But Bijan, though, I think he's just missing something in terms of physical presence and his ability to run the ball that I think kind of holds this Falcons team back. Maybe they need to lean a little more into Algier, let Bijan rotate. I don't think he should be the every down back, and they drafted him like that, so they're kind of leaning more into that investment. They'll find their identity as the season goes on. They're kind of figuring out Darnell Mooney as well. They need to run, dude. Every time they were in the red zone, I'm like, you got Kyle Pitts, you got Drake London, run a damn fade.
Yeah.
Like, get them one-on-one, show us why you drafted them. And it's like they had an out route that ended up winning the game with Drake London. And
Great route.
Maybe you Darius Slay got caught looking in the backfield on that. His eyes were all over Kirk, and he just wasn't paying attention. I think he was expecting fade, and they ran it out. Maybe it was a good play call. Maybe it was. They ended up winning the game. It's great. But I think in terms of the season long, I want to see them take advantage of their size mismatches they got. Touch on Chauncey Gardner-Johnson really quick. That dude, I've never seen a player able to get in opposing teams' heads the way that Chauncey Gardner-Johnson does. Who else have you ever seen get punched in the face by opposing teams more than him? I mean, he got Javon Wims ejected from a game. He got Anthony Miller ejected from a game. He got another penalty off Ray McLeod for getting punched in the face. Like, what is he saying to them, bro? I wish they could have him mic'd up and hear what he's saying to them. It's got to be some vile stuff, bro, to be able to get getting punched in the face the way he does, bro, because I've never seen another guy get in other players' heads the way Chauncey Gardner-Johnson does. And that's a hidden yardage thing that, like, good player. Dude, he's got, like, something about him, though, to where he just pisses dudes off. And I love it. I wish he was on my team. But, I mean, he fits Philly to a T, though.
He is the perfect guy.
Philly, bro.
Philly is that if Philly was a person, he's Philly.
Dude, I'm telling you, bro. I love watching him play football because I love the way he gets in players' heads and gets them off their game, and he makes big hits and stuffs in the ground game. And also, too, he'll get turnovers. He got beat twice in the first week and the second week. Yeah, he gets beat. Everybody gets beat. But he's just a playmaker, man, and a little bit of an X factor in the secondary that I think he brings an edge that like a defense needs, you know? Everybody needs a guy like that.
Yep. But they lose. They fall to 1-1. They do. I think that week 1 matchup between the Eagles and Packers might be an NFC championship matchup. If Jordan Love's healthy, man, I think
the Packers, yeah, if Jordan Love is healthy.
I'm saying we might be talking about capping off the NFC championship. So I think that could be.
I think the Lions, like I liked him a lot coming into the season with the way that they ran their offense last year and the identity that they had, that they do still have. They can figure it out. They can get back to biting kneecaps.
They can.
But with the way that the teams are looking after week 2, Packers, Eagles, it's looking like.
Yep. Right now, after week 2.
After week 2. The Lions can get back to it. They got a lot of talent. But, I mean, that Packers defense, we talked about it. It's just first-rounders littered all over the defense.
Yeah.
And with Matt LaFleur calling the offense, they're going to be in every game.
Yep. You good on that game?
Yeah, I feel like that covers just about everything. Yeah. I mean, the way the game ended, seeing Darnell Mooney be some guy that they kind of leaned on in terms of route running, getting open, being a veteran. It was kind of nice to see that. I was projecting him to have a big breakout this season, so I was happy for that. Kyle Pitts, they just don't know what to do with the guy. I don't know what it is with him. It's disappointing. But I want to see them take advantage of their size mismatches they got. I think they play the Chiefs this next Sunday, so big test for them.
Yeah. But I think that wraps up our week 2 recap. Randy, I appreciate you doing this always.
Thank you, brother. So much fun.
Yeah, and then we'll get that week 3 predictions out for you guys tomorrow. But I appreciate you guys listening. Be sure to follow the TikTok and Instagram at Let's Talk Ball _podcast for both of those. Check that out, and yeah, we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Go Bears.